Hey my friends, how you doing? I hope everything is working. Sorry, I had to check why the chat is not showing up. But now it's apparently showing up, so that's pretty cool. Thank you everybody for joining today. I hope you enjoyed my little video I created in Vienna, testing my equipment and stuff. And yeah, just also wanted to see if you like this kind of content. Not specifically that kind of content, because it's just like different scenes of the city, but like me going outside, filming things out there, maybe meeting other artists. And I want to do photo shootings with people outside, stuff like that. And I could film that stuff like that. So that would be pretty cool. Okay, so hi Twen from Holland, how you doing? Hi Kevin, thanks for joining. How Rushab from India, thank you very much, pretty cool. Hi Casino from London. Hi Castiano from Brazil. Hola Castiano, ¿cómo está? Is that right? I think, I hope so. Crypto Learn from Hamburg, hi, how you doing? Linda from Canada, thank you very much for joining. Hi Twen. I already said hi, okay. I don't see here anything. Yeah, okay, that was like I didn't turn it on. I'm kind of green today, right? It's like every time my camera is a little bit different. I don't know. Pretty strange. Hi, oh god, what is that name? Howlin Matt? Howlin Matt. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you from Tennessee. How you doing? Okay. Thank you, Kishino. Thanks, that's cool. Hi, Leo from Holland. Hi, Sko from Brazil. Hi, Wilbert from Michigan. Hi, Bruce from Canada. It's pretty cool. Thank you all. Hi, Oliver from Northern Germany. Hi, moin moin. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Amsterdam, Herman from Amsterdam, thank you. By the way, did you know that in Germany we have very, very different dialects? So the language is so different that if you like speak the dialect in the south, you wouldn't understand what somebody in the north is saying. And even if you speak like the normal German that you speak everywhere in Germany, you wouldn't understand either of these dialects in the south or in the north, because they have a lot of very different words. So it's pretty interesting, even though it's not such a big country compared to other countries like America, that it's like completely, it's really interesting. So different languages in there. Yeah. Hey, Herman from Amsterdam. Hi, Andrej. Is that right? I'm not sure. Hi, Oliver from France. Thanks for asking. Okay, Cristiano. Okay, cool. By the way, no. What did I want to say? Yeah. I want to show you on the other screen before I go. Wait, let me switch. There we go. Okay, cool. So, surprise, surprise. Let's put this over here. I am on the Affinity channel because I do one of these videos. It's up on the, you can see 23rd of May, 5 p.m. of, I think, my time. So, but you will see your timing when you go to that page. I will put that in the chat. Wait, I should have put up watch me on the Affinity channel. So you can set a reminder there. Let's put this 2 times. There we go. And I asked them if they can make a photo with my, like recreate a photo with my cat Lolo together. You have seen him several times in the stream running around on my table, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that they put him in there. And I'm wearing one of my polo shirts. I need to get some other polo shirts because I only have like 3 that I can use for the chat. I have more, but the problem is that there is a lot of different colors that don't work with the green screen. So I have a blue one, it has a little bit of green, that's not good. Then I have another one that has a little bit of gray in there, so that's also not good. There's a lot of colors that are not really good for working with that, but I'm pretty happy that, yeah, I got a chance to make a video for them, so that's pretty cool. And I hope you like that. Yeah, so that's going to be very nice. It's about, I think, half an hour long, something like that. So that should be pretty nice. And yeah, join the video. I will be, by the way, I will be in the live chat while this is premiering. So you can ask questions or stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. All right. Awesome. Also, by the way, we have a lot of submissions today for the project of the week. Oh, by the way, let's switch over to the big view. I thought today I will also edit pictures, so that's for sure. But I thought we could also like talk about the composition of pictures and these kind of things. So last time I asked you to suggest some photographers so we can look at those pictures and analyze their photographs a little bit. Maybe that's interesting. Like recently I did this video about how to analyze and look at art. But this is more of the, like, we are not going to repaint or resketch these pictures as I've shown you in the video, but we can look at the different kind of compositions and things that they have done in their pictures, maybe find some interesting things together in these pictures. So maybe that might be interesting. Also, I wanted to talk about another topic maybe later at when I do the editing of the pictures. It was like this economy of attention, which I was thinking about recently, especially when I made these videos in Vienna, because there's other channels, like, for example, I guess you know the channel Mythical Morning with Red and Link. So this is a pretty fun, like, I would say comedy channel. Mostly, or like a game show channel, but they are only themselves most of the time, so it's not like they don't have guests for the game show, stuff like that, but they do challenges in that video. And I was thinking about, they also have another channel, I think it's called, like, they have a podcast, it's called Ear Biscuit, and then they have another one. They have really creative names for their channels. But the thing is that they were talking, like, they made videos, and in one video it was like half an hour video about Red having, like, he's a fan of beans, so he has a lot of beans at home in a bean cooker, and then they go shopping for beans and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily something I'm interested in, like cooking beans, but because I like these people, that was like the interesting part, is to see what are they doing outside of the show. So I was thinking, at what point are you getting interested in a person outside of like the context of what they do normally? That's kind of like, I think at some point there's like there's more interest than just getting the face value of, for example, a tutorial or like a little bit of comedy or stuff like that. Okay, what does the chat say? Hey, Kevin says, can you tell us what you will be doing on the video? Well, it says in the title, it's a kind of a sci-fi scene that I'm creating. It's a bit like in my live stream videos, but of course it's shorter because I prepared it first and then I made a second version and then I made the kind of tutorial of that. So if you do something 2 or 3 times, of course, you're getting faster. You can leave steps out. You don't have to think about solutions on how to get there. And you just do it, and that reduces it from over an hour to just half an hour, including explaining the process. So that's pretty helpful. There's some black space on the right, really? Where? In the video? Oh, on the right side of the screen, Rushabh. Is there some... No, the green screen covers everything. Is there... Where's the black space? Or is it like... Wait. Does the background not completely cover the video? Well, let me see. Because I switched these background pictures out, but it should cover the video completely. Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. But it should cover everything. Let me see on the when I have the work view. Oh yeah, there we go. Again on this side. What is going on? Why is this? You see, I can hardly reach with my hand back there. It's so far over. So there we go. Okay, perfect. And also I'm a little bit very much to the left. Or, well, I don't want to cover the tools or anything. So that's good. All right, there we are. Okay, we fixed that. Thank you, Rushabh. Yeah. When you zoom out. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, so but I will talk about that later. Let's do the review of the Facebook pictures. So I'm not talking about just stuff. By the way, this chat, it's restarting every time I change the scene. This is really bothersome. I don't know how to change that. There's so many things I still need to learn. Font set, and then let's not do it now. Okay, so let me open Facebook real quick. Oh, there's another interesting topic. Like, I thought maybe a podcast also would be nice. Just chatting about topics. I don't know. I just like people say. I like myself. I like to hear myself talking. Is that the saying? When you like to talk a lot about a lot of different topics. What was I about to say? I forgot. This is economy of attention. There was something else. Oh, lifelong learning. Yeah, that was in. That's another thing. Like I was just thinking today. Like, there is never basically a day where there isn't something I need to learn. For example, today, of course, there's a lot of video cutting because the cutting of these videos are very different from cutting of my tutorial videos where I just like remove things that I said, but they're not as important. So that's pretty easy. But doing these kind of effects and stuff, that's a lot more complicated. And exporting it in the right format or like codec and blah, all these kind of information. And a lot of other things, like it's really, yeah, extreme, that the things you need to learn. Oh, by the way, I have to probably, 1 second, sorry. So, all right. Can you pause messages on Facebook on the website so you don't get them while you're streaming? I don't know that either. Okay, let's go into the group. Sorry for the delay. There we go. So there's a lot of submissions, 30 comments this time. Maybe we should go a little bit faster through them than last time. Wait a second. So let's go to the work view so you can see. Oh, I forgot to move this up. My God. Okay, let's move this up real quick so you can see the supporters here. I thought I want to give back something more like, I don't know. I thought this might be a good idea. Also, oh God, where's this picture? Well, sorry. I'm a mess today again. Affinity sent me another version of that picture that's a bit smaller. I wanted to put that in live chat. I forgot about that. Sorry, it's all over the place today. Where is that picture? 1 second, because I wanted to put that up there. Why don't I see any? Can't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So let's download that. 2 downloads, yes, please. And then we're gonna add an image. Sorry that I do that in live stream. No, we want to make a new source. Cat stream. Let's call it cat stream. There we go. And of course, a title, I will never remember what that is. Browse. There we go. Boom. Oh, okay. Covers everything. That's nice. That shouldn't happen. It's always perfect to do that live. It's really nice. Okay, there we go. I have to remove that later when we edit things or stuff, but for now, it's kind of nice. And then I will sometimes post the link to the video. I think that's okay. Let's put this up here. So nice that they put the cat there. Okay, so also I have to find the chat window. Another thing, 1 second. Almost set up on my mess here. Okay, there we go. Good. Am I still live or did it break? No, didn't break. Okay, good. I hope I'm still live. Let's switch over here. I have to close this. Yeah, okay, good. All right. Good. So chat window. There we go. All right. So this time was this kind of tunnel effect that I was doing also a tutorial about. I should link the tutorial here too. I didn't think about that, by the way. Oh, there's even 38 comments. Oh my God. We have a lot of stuff to look at. So this is by Seonite. Okay, Seonite Steven. Okay, so pretty cool, pretty interesting use of that kind of effect. I think he posted that before I made the tutorial. But maybe he left these stripes in on purpose. So it's kind of this, for me, it looks like an afterlife scene. I'm not sure if that's what he's looking for here. There's no description text. But the effect is kind of, it's pretty cool. The only thing I would probably change here is to have a little bit more fog around the feet, or like it's like you can see there's like a kind of a harsh transition here. So to cover that up a little bit, to look at more like they are standing inside of the clouds. But it's pretty cool. They're moving back into the light or something like that. So like this is why I see this kind of afterlight scene. So that's pretty cool. And also this kind of stripes out here that comes from using the effect. So usually you zoom in or you crop the image to remove that. But if you leave it there, it has this kind of, how do you say, other dimension, this kind of, how do you say, supernatural kind of feeling. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. Thank you, Stephen, for posting that picture. Let's go to the next one. This is a very different effect. And by the way, I'm not sure if you can do that inside of Affinity Photo. There's plugins that do it for you, and that makes it pretty easy to use that. Otherwise, if you do that by hand, that would be a very like cumbersome thing to do. But there's kind of an algorithm that does this kind of spiral effect. I'm not sure what it has a specific name. I don't remember right now what the name is for that, but it's a pretty cool edit. It reminds me a little bit of these kind of starts of James Bond movies, where you look through the gun barrel. By the way, I have like, I don't know, it took like years and years until I understood that you look actually through the gun barrel with these kind of like spiral things coming towards the middle point. Or such, you know, I didn't realize. Like, of course, I was a child when they had these movies. So, and I don't think you have a spiral inside of a gun barrel. I don't see a reason for that. Maybe there is. I don't know. Yeah, but pretty interesting. I don't know what these rectangles are, but they certainly give even more attention to the dancer in the background. And also, then you have this kind of piano back there, which is also a very nice background and good idea, because you have to put something back there to kind of cover that opening or kind of give some context. So that's pretty interesting. So the music basically storming towards her. So that's pretty interesting. Very nice effect. Yeah, I like that. The only thing, like, there you can see there's these kind of bends in here, like probably the software had problems like converting that into a nice round spiral, or maybe that's part of the architecture, that there is a little bit of change here in the, how would you call that, a rail guard? Well, what is the name of this? My English again. Rail guard, fence, but a fence is also different, so that's a handlebar? No, handlebar is something different. I don't know. Anyways, the spirals in the gun barrels are rifling. They put spin on the bullet so it flies straighter. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you, Howland Matt. That's really interesting. So they have spirals in there, and it's like it starts to turn the bullet. That's interesting. Okay. Wow. Okay, so pretty cool. Thank you. Oh, this is from Sabine. Hey, thank you very much. Dance and music in the stairwell. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, very nice. It would be cool to, if you use kind of extra tools to write them here, maybe I should also write that in the text, because that would be interesting what kind of tool was used here to create the kind of spiral effect. Here's one from Twan. So that's pretty cool. I remember that picture. I've used that in a tutorial for the crystal ball. That's a pretty cool effect here. And the bird is standing on this, oh god, again, searching for words. What is that? The ship is docking on the In German, it's the Steg. In English, it's what? Oh, God. Why do we forget all these things? Steg. A jetty? Gangplank? A dock, a bridge, a gutter? None of those seem like right for such a small kind of thing, you know? Anyways, it's pretty interesting. I feel like the thing, like the effect is a bit like extreme maybe for that picture. So there's a lot of, like it's stretched really hard. You hardly see what the original scenery was. But at the same time, I feel like this looks like it's kind of a huge nest where the bird is sitting, or we are looking through the nest to the outside onto the bird who is sitting in front of the bird. You know these kind of birds who make these hanging, they look like little melons with a hole in them on the side, but they are not like fruit, but they are made from grass. The African birds made them. They hang in trees. I would suppose it looks like that when you look through that from the inside. So it's also interesting. The stretching is a bit extreme, and also, he made this kind of wave effect out here. That's pretty also interesting. Has this kind of dreamy effect to that. So yeah, interesting way to work with that. Pretty cool. Thank you, Twen. Let's go to the next picture. What is this? Also by Sabine. The shell and a ghost in the water. The ghost is not my work. The ghost. Not sure I'm seeing a ghost. Maybe this with the eyes and the mouth, that's the ghost? Am I missing something here? So there's a shell out here that's lying on the ground in the sand. And then this effect is superimposed basically onto the shell. So instead of a shell, you see this kind of tunnel effect. And as opposed, the effect has created this kind of ghostly face here in the middle. Is that the, it's interesting. I wonder if the thing that is bent here, where it is really extremely bent, is the actual inside picture of the shell, or if there was some other picture used for that. That's pretty interesting. Is there, by the way, I should have looked at the chat real quick. A gangplank, or a bird, a bay, pier. Pier is like more French, right? Jetty? No, the pier, the English say pier. That's interesting. Yeah, that's true. Okay, interesting. Jetty. A bay. I didn't know that these kind of things are called a bay. I also thought like the bay is like the natural structure. Like the whole area of landscape that's basically where the sea is like surrounded by a little bit of land. Not surrounded by like on some parts. Okay, let's go to the next one. By Samuel Falk. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. This is pretty nice. When you see the boat down here, wow, then you see like how huge that is. That's pretty interesting. Wow. Okay. So that is very nice. You could probably work a little bit more with the light, for example, to make these upper parts here a little bit darker, so you have more attention on the boat down there. So you would like look more at the boat maybe. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. Very nice effect. And also the water is going all the way around. It's not like, there is some pictures where you have this kind of cave effect, but then like the water is put into this kind of tunnel effect. So it is a cave, but with water on the ground. But here the water is going all the way around. So it's kind of all this, again, this kind of supernatural effect. I really like how this is, the water is stretching out all around the picture, but it's not stretched in a way where you would think, it's super pixelated and looks very digital. You can see here like these kind of ripples and reflections still look pretty good. I'm surprised how you did that. So you don't get like extremely stretched things, because the further it goes to the outside, the more it gets stretchy and distorted, you know? Washing machine? Yeah, maybe. That is a pretty cool picture. I really like that. I like the dimensions, how big it looks. Again, I would maybe work a little bit with the light here to change that a little bit. To have more tension here. Pretty cool. Thank you, Samuel. Oh, there's another. Ah, here he did another version. So this is a little bit of a change from the colors. What did he change actually? Wait a second. Let's put this in a new tab and then go back and put this also in a new tab. So we can go, oh wow, this is a bit big. Can we zoom out? Yeah. Oh, this other one zoomed out too, okay. So this, we basically moved it up a little bit so the boat is more, is it like more in the center or less in the center now? It is less in the center now. Okay. Did the background rotate? No, the background is the same. Interesting. Is there a description? After sleeping on it for a night, I repositioned and resized it a little. Okay, interesting. But why? It would be interesting to write why you did that. So what is the difference? Because this moves the boat even further to the edge, so it's kind of harder to see. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's interesting. Oh, my chatbot is active again. Oh, I wanted to change that, by the way, and also put in the video. Where is the... Wait a second. I will do this real quick. Alert box. Give me 1 second. Cloudbot. There we go. And then we have the timers here. Yes. Okay. So I will change these timers because it's a bit too much how often they get posted. So let's set the other one to maybe also 20. And then we make a new one, new timer, Affinity project. And I need to have a, wait a second, interval is 1. This is also 20. And then when is that? 23rd May. 23rd May. Okay. Save. Good. So that should be now. Yeah, okay. That should work now. Okay, sorry. Let's go back to the stuff here. So this should now automatically appear in the chat. Let's get back to the chat. I don't have to think about that. That's good. Hey, Jeff. How you doing? Thanks for joining. This was over here real quick. I could not join your last events. I will try to join more frequently. That's okay. They are all on YouTube to watch afterwards. So don't. If you have time, I'm super happy to see you on my chat. But don't like. If it's okay if you don't have time, is what I try to say. Okay. Here's the next one, also by Sabine, Osaka by Night. That's pretty cool. I wish I could read these. My Chinese is not that good yet. I learned a little bit, but it's like, I don't know, maybe 100 words or something. But like the interesting thing is like you have these apps, and then if you learn with an app compared to a book is like you learn, hello, how are you doing? Do you have a free room? This is my first day in this town. I want to know your name. You know, stuff like that in a book. And then you use an app to learn a language, and they teach you horse, banana, turtle, water, coconut, I don't know. And like you learn 100 words and you don't know anything to say. You know, the only thing I know to say is hello and I feel good and how are you? But that's not enough for 100 words. You know, why do you learn all these kind of strange words? You know, and then you learn sentences like, I don't know, the spider eats an apple. When would I ever use that sentence in real life? You know what I mean? It's so stupid with apps. Okay, but I have some books now to learn from that too. All right, so let's talk about the picture. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked by the scenery here. So pretty cool. It's kind of like skewed a little bit, distorted. So maybe work on that. But I really like how you cover the side with these kind of fog effects here, or smoke effects that kind of cover the outsides and give kind of a cool atmosphere that fits the story of this kind of celebration that's going on there. So that's actually a pretty good idea. But I think the effect is better if it's kind of round, or if it's skewed. There should be kind of a reason for it to be skewed, to make more sense on why is that. Otherwise, it just looks like something is wrong, something didn't go as planned. So the idea is cool, and some elements are pretty interesting and very creative. But the execution, the elements could fit better together, I would say. All right. Let's go on to the next one. There we go. Which is by, wow, what's going on here? By Kashino Idris. Selfie. Oh, that's you? Really? Wow. Okay. I would have thought it's kind of a famous musician or something. That's a pretty cool picture. And added a little twirl effect. That's pretty awesome. Oh, it's that how do you call that? With the burning steel wool, the thing. I thought this is laser light, to be honest, but that looks pretty cool. That looks like a party is going on. You know, I think like from the way all these kind of things are spreading out, and from the green light and stuff like that. If you would have put yourself in the center, maybe that would have been cool. Like. Maybe that would have been an interesting effect to have these kind of all these kind of rays going outside, and this is kind of surrounding you, like not in the center here, but if you're in the same position, but over here to cover up this guy in the middle. But at the same time, that's pretty cool. It's very nice. So he's basically like looking at this kind of wild stuff that's going on here, observing it and wondering what is going on. This stuff up here is a little bit strange. I don't know why that is there, but it's still a cool effect. And because the rest is so crazy, kind of fits. Why not? That's interesting. Very interesting. Steel wool pig. Yeah. Did you also do the picture with the steel wool? This kind of thing? I would like to try that. That's pretty awesome. English Rose says, hey everyone, I'm Amanda. I'm new to Affinity Photo, but I'm learning. Okay, thanks for joining. Hi English Rose, pretty cool username too. Yeah. Light painting, I think. No, not light painting. This kind of the thing you do with fire and stuff. It has a certain name. I can't remember. You can also do it like with tennis balls or stuff like that. But yeah, you could try, maybe move yourself in the middle, try to see if this is kind of a cool effect. Yeah, but it's very, very creative, very interesting, very different use from the original kind of posters, pictures I posted on from Pinterest. So very nice. Really cool to see how much creative stuff that people come up with. There's another one from Twen. Oh, wow. Okay. Are those hippos or rhinos? I don't know. Maybe hippos, right? Oh, no. Okay, cool. So we have kind of a, oh God, how do you say, savanna going on? I don't think this is water. I think it's like a savanna in the morning with kind of the blue light going on, sunset in the background. So that's pretty cool. Is this basically the same picture I used, but more stretched out? So the center is more like the glowing part of the sun is more, is a lot bigger, but it's pretty interesting. Oh, really? You did do that picture too? That's pretty cool. Wow. Interesting. Very nice. Very cool. So the steel wool picture. He was saying in the chat that he also did that. All right. Pretty awesome. Okay. So one thing maybe here is like I do this trick where I copy the background and then make an average blur. So you have the mixed color of everything in the background and then blend it over it with soft light as a blend mode. To give it an ambient light of the light that's in there already. And to put this over just the animals, you know, like you can... for example, you can select all of the animals to have a selection and make a mask from that and put it then on that kind of layer. Or I think it should also work if you put all the animals into a group and then put this kind of layer with the blend mode also into the group on top of all the other layers. So you have this kind of ambient light on there because you can see all of them have a little bit different light. Like this is a bit warmer and this seems to be a bit cooler over here. And they also have a different light. So to mix them a bit better together and like merge them a little bit better with the background, you know. So yeah, but it's a pretty interesting, pretty cool idea. Very nice. Yeah, pretty cool. Thank you very much for posting that. Oh, so now this is posting now. Well, is it? Anyways, okay, good. I'm checking my chat bot over here. Sorry. All right, let's go on. There's one from Colin. Oh, by the way, I didn't read it. Was there text? No, there wasn't. Let's go. Okay, good. That was exactly my thought, right? By the way, for this moment, Colin says first attempt on here. That is pretty good for a first attempt. Really very nice combination of colors here, especially, okay, now we need the word again. What is it called? A gangplank or a pier or a bay? So on the bay, let's say bay, I don't know, that the colors repeat on the bay as a reflection and in the sky is kind of nice because it brings the different elements together. So that's pretty nice, pretty cool idea. And you have this kind of fantasy situation with the woman looking into the, not the sunset, at the moon, basically. So that's pretty cool. The outlines here are a bit rough, maybe, around her. But, I mean, that's okay. You can try to work on that a little bit, maybe blend that in or make them a little bit darker because they have kind of a shine on them, as you can see here. Or did you paint that on to kind of reflect the brightness of the clouds? I'm not sure, like, because the clouds are so far away, you would get this kind of hard edge of bright light. Also, but the shadow is pretty nice. Although when it goes pretty close to the legs, it should probably be a little bit sharper. Like what you can do is you can do a blur effect over that and then make a mask on the blur effect and like the live blur, I mean. And you put a mask on that and you have kind of a gradient as the mask. So the mask is getting softer or stronger over time, if you know what I mean. So it's blurred less when it's close to the body and then gets more blurred when it goes away from the body. And also I would fade it out a little bit because it's like the shadow probably shouldn't have the same kind of strength independent of how far it is from the body. It should get a bit weaker when it goes away. But it is a pretty cool picture still. It's very, very nice. Very cool ideas. And very nice colors. You have a little bit of green down here that's going over into blue, stuff like that. So pretty cool. Okay. So thank you very much, Colin. Am I going too slow? Because we have a lot. Oh my God, we have a lot of pictures. Okay. Have to go a little bit faster maybe. There we go. Next one is again by Twan. Wow, okay, this is really a lot of fantasy content here going on. I'm not sure what is going on. Swimming with dolphins. All right. Again, try to blend them better with this kind of what I explained before for the ambient light because they are like more like stickers. They don't look like they're in the same scene. the rest is interesting. It's interesting effect, especially because this is kind of this is the sky, but it looks like a water surface. Did you do that in Affinity Photo or with another software? Because it looks, that might be just because of the how the shadows and the highlights work here, but it looks like you have this kind of waves that you get, like these round waves when you drop something into water. So I think it's just like an illusion based on this kind of how the light shines through the clouds. It's an interesting picture, but try to mix the elements a bit better, like I said, with the ambient light and stuff like that. Okay, thank you very much, Twin. Let's go on to Dean, who has written a long text, let's see, or like a longer text for that. I used one of my own landscapes on, and then a person off of Unsplash sitting on a rock. My landscape was, and it transformed it. Using such a long landscape had some effects when polarizing, but still not terrible. But not a truly round tunnel. Yeah, it's a bit skewed, but probably maybe of the hillsides and stuff like that. So I know what you mean by that. I really like this kind of spiral effect and these kind of spikes that are going on here in the background. And it's also kind of nice how this guy is like, he's sitting on a stone over, oh my god. Again, let me look for the word. Over the abyss, the rift, chasm. Oh my god, there's so many words. And often they have like different meanings. If you know the language, you understand how to use them in a sentence. Yeah, but it's a pretty interesting effect. It might be interesting to maybe work with the colors in the landscape to make it more like mysterious, stuff like that. I mean, it's interesting as it is with these original colors, but if you have like, if you look at like these kind of mysterious pictures, they use like a specific kind of colors, maybe this kind of like a faded blue or stuff like that, that you have often in movies or stuff, such like that, that you could try to put over the background. So this kind of landscape looks more like, it gives more of a purpose. Why is this guy sitting there in front of this kind of very strange landscape? So that's that could add some interesting effects to that. It's pretty cool. You could also try, although I don't know how to do that myself with this kind of polar effect, to get this opening more over the guy, you know, so that like, because he's darker than the background, so he's kind of then framed by this, so he's standing out a little bit more. But it's a pretty interesting picture. Yeah, very cool. Thank you very much. Let's go on to the next picture by Rushab. Hey Rushab, you're in the chat. Hi, how are you doing? Very nice, very cool effect. And I really like how the ground here is still looking very nice and not too distorted. So that's pretty interesting. And the father and the child walking there, also very nice. Is that part of the original picture, or did you put that? I guess you put that on later, like I showed in my tutorial, because he's not stretched or skewed in any way. So really cool. Very nice. Also with the colors and stuff, it looks really, really nice. It has kind of a nice kind of story of this time together of father and son. Yeah, pretty interesting. Very nice. And it's like, in this kind of color combination, the background looks a little bit like a rose. So it has this kind of laugh moment in there. Also this kind of softness between father and son. So that's pretty cool. Very nice. Thank you for posting that. Very cool. And also very nice removal of the edge, because I found that pretty hard to blend these kind of things together. But in this picture, it worked really well. Also in the center, everything looks really smooth. So thank you for that. Let's go to the next one. Here's Amanda. Wow. Okay. We got some really creative stuff. Okay. Amanda says, the mystical portal. Here's my attempt at the tunnel effect using 2 photos from Pixabay. Hope you like it. I wanted to achieve the effect that the girl was being drawn into the tunnel. Hopefully I managed that. Absolutely, yeah. It looks like she's again like this tunnel thing in my mind just has like um how do you say, like the last moments in life, and this is like the pearly gates that you go through into afterlife, stuff like that. So to me it looks like that, but it's pretty interesting, very nice, very cool. Yeah, it's really interesting. This I don't like that part here. Why this is so bright? Probably is part of the background, but maybe to cover this up and add maybe a little bit of fog here or stuff, so that like the opening is like blending softer with the background with this gate. So it's kind of more this kind of effect that you really think that the gate is sitting back there behind all this kind of turning and how to say spiraling clouds that are going on, because now it still has this kind of effect. You see like this shape and this side here is so similar that you think this is looking back, is looking through from the background. Probably it doesn't, but it has this kind of effect. So to cover this up a little bit with clouds maybe makes it a better effect. And you could, I don't know, maybe if you try to turn her around, like mirror her so her face is looking towards the other way, because right now she's standing with her back to the, not only with her back to the gate, but also looking away from the gate. And I think if you turn her around, she is at least looking at the same direction as the gate is. So that's pretty interesting to try that, or maybe find another figure who's actually going in that direction. Maybe in that case, a figure that is going into the direction but looks over her shoulder, so you still see the face, so you can make kind of an emotional connection to the person. Maybe that's a good idea, but I know it's super hard to find pictures like that on the internet that kind of exactly fit what kind of thing you're looking for. So I can understand. It's pretty cool, very creative, very nice use of colors and everything. Pretty cool. Thank you very much, Amanda. All right, let's go to the next one. This is a lot more abstract. What is that? Oh, I see. Okay, so this is by Aline Russell. Own photos of grain silos here in Australia. Hey, Australians, how are you doing? I have relatives in Australia too, by the way. Let me get a little bit sidetracked. So crazy story is after World War II, I think, yes, after World War II, the Australians imported is maybe like, let's say invited people from Greece to work there to build up the economy, which is really interesting. Because it's super far away, and you would think like maybe Asia is closer to that, but the Australians have also fought in the World War and supported the troops and stuff like that. Not of Germany, of course, but from the other side, of course. And what was I going to say? So they have political connections. And to reach out and to the Greece, who also weren't in a good situation after the war, a lot of people were really happy to move to Australia and try to like build up the city, help the economy, and just find a new life there. And some of them have been my relatives, so there are still some of those there, which is really interesting. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, pretty cool. Yeah, it's a very nice effect. I like how he's walking on this kind of path here that is created by these silos moving towards the center point. First I thought these are kind of tents from what is it called? Burning Man. You know, this kind of big event in the desert in America, like a huge like party, but in like celebrating like open culture, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. These look like tents, so they're pretty cool. Very nice. Very interesting kind of effect. Yeah, and it looks like if it's small, it looks super abstract. So maybe that is one point as to give as a feedback. Like if you look at the small version, it is kind of hard to read and understand. And readability is kind of an important thing. Like, for example, if you look at the picture right below that, you see there's a tunnel, and you can see from these outlines, from the shape and also from the contrast, that this is a diver who's swimming toward this kind of light point. And down here you have this guy. He's dark, but the background is white, so or is brighter, so you can see the outline of the person really good, and you have a good readability of, yeah, this is a person, the hands are spreading out, stuff like that. So making pictures really small and squinting your eyes, stuff like that, is really helpful to understand how good is my picture readable. So you can play around with the values here, with darkness, with brightness, also maybe changing like the values of the background, overlaying it maybe with a vignette effect or stuff like that, and then changing the look of this guy standing here in the picture to make him jump out a little bit more, make him more obvious, and also give it more like to give it kind of a story of what is going on. So a story in a sense of, you look at the picture and you know what is the purpose, what is the sense of the things that are going on in the picture, not as a story as in like a movie or something. I don't mean that, just so you have like an idea. You don't have to be puzzled by understanding what is going on too much, you know. So and you can help that with light, with shadow, with brightness, with saturation, with all these kind of things. I wasn't trying to say brightness. I was trying to say with colors. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, cool. So thank you very much for posting that. Let's go into the next one, which is by Oliver. He says, first try, not as easy as I thought. Yeah, I thought so myself when I made that tutorial. It's pretty hard to get this stuff together. Again, for a first try, pretty cool. And this, by the way, is a effect of first tries. This is also why people say, hey, beginner's luck. Because when you try things for the first time, you are not as worried about it's getting right or not. And at the same time, you take more caution at the steps because you're learning them. So you're more, how do you say, you're more attentive to the things you do, but less attentive to it has to be amazing, you know? And so this is kind of a situation you have to try to get back into as an artist all the time, which is super hard because you kind of, as soon as you start to do things, as soon as you get a little bit better, or as soon as you get a little bit more attention for your stuff, the voices are coming from left and right. That's not good enough. You have to do it better, stuff like that. And then suddenly you pay a lot of attention to, is it awesome enough, and not enough attention to, do I do it the right way, you know? So this kind of beginner thing often gives you cool results, and you can basically get that when you do something by say, I'm just doing this for fun right now. I don't care if it's garbage, it's garbage. I don't worry about that. And you make some like sketches by putting elements together. And then if you see something that you can save it, leave it for 2-3 days, come back and see if something cool is there, and then you can make an actual picture out of that. And it has this kind of relaxed state in it. So that's kind of a cool trick. Let's go back to the picture. So that is a pretty cool picture. Again, I really like all of the kind of little effects and details you put in here. For example, like the shadow under the swimmer is very nice. Also, the combination of how well the swimmer blends with the water is really cool. And you even put here some jellyfish from other pictures, so that's also very nice. This one here is maybe a bit skewed. But it's a very nice effect to have them in there to give it more dimension, a bit more life. These little details, these little extra things can really add to a story and to how real it feels, and to how how much you can connect to the picture, if you know what I mean. Yeah. The only thing I find a little bit strange is these two shadow areas here. Like here it is a little bit darker, and there is this kind of shadow strain coming out of the picture, but for no reason. And that's kind of distracting. You're like, the picture is awesome, but then you see this and you're like there's this kind of question of, yeah, but why is this here? what is making the shadow in the picture. So yeah, pretty, but it's just still pretty interesting. You could use, for example, you could try to use the clone brush and just copy it over from another side, or maybe dodge and burn, or maybe put another pixel layer over that, set it to a soft, like lower opacity, and pick some colors from here, paint over that to cover that up a little bit. So there's different methods you can try. By the way, this looks extremely like an eye. I wonder how this would look if this would be like, if there was a little bit of an iris on there as an effect and she's swimming into an eye. That maybe that's a cool effect. I don't know. I was just thinking because this looks so much like an eye. All right. Thank you very much, Oliver. Oh, there's another one from Oliver. Also very cool. Again, very nice readability of these kind of different elements and very nice little details in there. You really have a hand for these kind of combining elements. Very, very nice. The next try, I said I wanted to give the person a glow on the outside, but I couldn't do it properly. Properly, sorry. Wow, I can't speak. Still looks good. Yeah, probably the reason for the glow not working is because the background is rather bright already. So that might be a reason why this isn't working. You could also try to like just copy the person and then like make a selection of the person, fill that with white. So you have a pixel layer with white or whatever kind of glow color you want to use, and then blur that. So it has the shape of the person, but it's blurred. It's getting bigger than the original shape because of the blurring. And then, for example, you can set it to screen or to, oh God, what's it called? The vivid something. The blend mode, I don't remember. You just try different blend modes and see if this gives you a certain kind of glow effect you want to have in there. But again, it's really cool with these kind of birds. For me, they look like they come out of the light. I'm not sure. And he's kind of embracing it. I don't know what you're seeing. This could be both ways. Either the guy's standing towards the light or away from the light. I can't decide. For me, it looks like he's standing towards the light. And I really like the glow of the, like around the center here that gives it more of kind of a depth dimension, and also how the birds kind of, you can see this kind of gradient that's going on here of the brightness. So these are hardly visible, and then they get more visible the further they get away from the light, like darker is what I mean by that. So that's very nice attention to detail. Very cool. Again, maybe try to cover this up here a little bit, although in this case it looks good because the clouds themselves are pretty crisp from their edges. So maybe if you put fog over that wouldn't look too good. But the edge here looks a bit too sharp for like standing in smoke or standing in fog like that in clouds. So maybe try a little bit about that. Okay, but otherwise pretty cool. Wow, what is this? You can see, look at that, small picture, good readability. I can see like this is kind of a cave. There seems to be a woman and she seems to pull a sword from her back. Let's see if that's true. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. Hey, Lars. Thank you very much. Wow, this could be like a fantasy, like these playing cards or stuff. What is it called? Magic the Gathering, stuff like that. Very nice. Wow, okay. Oh, there's also a shadow down here for the woman that follows the ground pretty nicely. You can see, by the way, from the way the shadow looks, that the ground looks pretty steep. That's pretty interesting. All right, nice. Another first try. Okay, he says, here's my first try from an absolute beginner. Thank you for your nice tutorials. You are welcome. And again, wow, really cool first try here. The cave looks like it has kind of crystals in there that are glowing, stuff like that. And she's going into this fighting to fight a monster, or maybe coming out of the cave. I don't know. Although for me, it looks like she's going into a cave. And there's kind of this, I don't know, something in there that's glowing blue. Because it doesn't look like daylight, right? The blue is more like artificial source blue. All right, pretty cool, very nice. I don't even know what to say as an advice here because all of the elements are really, really nicely combined. By the way, I should look at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat in ages. Oh my God, there's a lot of stuff been going on. 1 second. Oh no, I was scrolling up. That's two. Okay. Too much going on. Edge. No, I was separated. Oh, it was separated. Okay, from the picture before. Orkattelschwarf. That's a username. Hi, how are you doing? That's an Austrian word. Yeah, okay. It doesn't mean anything naughty. Don't worry. It's oh my God, I don't know the English word. What is the word for that animal? What is the German word for that animal? Yeah, okay. 1 second. Squirrel. Squirrel? Unsquirrel something else? Wait a second. Yes. You know why I thought... No, wait a second. Yes. You know why I thought a squirrel is something else? Because if you see squirrels in American movies, they look different than the European squirrels because your squirrels are brown and I think a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit more aggressive. And the European squirrels are very red, like carrot top red. You know, like the comedian guy, like really intensely red, and they have long hair on their ears, stuff like that. I can show you a picture. Let's move this over here for a second. So this is more like a European style squirrel. You can see they are small, very shy, super quick. They have these kind of like bushy, super red hair, tails, and hairy ears, stuff like this. This is more like the American style that I remember. If you watch a movie or stuff, you see more like these guys jumping around, not these guys here. So this is when I hear squirrel, I think about this. When I hear what's the German name? Is Eichkätzchen? Is it Eichkätzchen? I have no idea, to be honest. Eichkätzchen, yeah, probably. Oh, but that's original. Wait a second. Sorry, getting sidetracked left and right here today. Eichhörnchen, that's it. Okay, right. So different regions. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. And the Eichkatzelschwarf is basically the tail, and this is like a, I don't know. It's an Austrian kind of. It's the Austrian word for that tail, the bushy tail back there. That somehow is legendary for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's just funny. Okay. All right. Enough about squirrels for now. Where were we? Oh, that's already the end. Okay. Red with a tail. Maybe. Eichhörnchen. Yeah, that's it. All right. Okay, let's go back to this. So this is really amazing. Wow. Okay. There we go. Next one is from Patrick. Again, very nice. I saw a tutorial some days ago. And I saw your tutorial and some days ago a Photoshop tutorial by Learning Screen. Thank both of you. Learned a lot from creating this. It looks pretty cool. I know what you mean. I know the picture from the tutorial. Yeah. There is also a guy standing on a car looking at the moon at the end of the tunnel. So that is a pretty cool recreation. Very, very nice. I think I see what you did there with this kind of dark background around the moon, but it's kind of, what is that, you know? So the effect is clear. You want to have like a visual separation so you see the moon, because if everything is bright back there, it's just like the moon looks like just a bit of more clouds up there in the sky. But at the same time, this kind of dark thing here is kind of strange of what is going on. Also, I would have covered this string here up. That's also very strange. So maybe leave a bigger opening and the moon is on a dark black sky. maybe that would be good, stuff like that. And then you maybe could have some clouds coming in from the side, overlapping the moon a little bit, stuff like that. That could be interesting. This is like super hard here with the edge. I also try to learn that and get slowly better at it. In this case, like for my eyes, when I look at it, it looks like this is this bright part is in front of the person, not on his side. You know what I mean? And also here, the car, it looks like the selection didn't really capture the edge of the guy, and there's a little bit of the original background there. Maybe that's the case, because there's also some bright areas here and down there and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to paint that onto a person if that is the kind of effect you were going for. The shadow is a bit dark, but it's nice that you thought about putting the shadow here, so that's pretty cool. Wait. Someone is showing this group. Yeah, okay. Did it? It's actually too late to post for the challenge today, but I can quickly look if some people want to join. It's always a good idea. One person wants to join. Oh, by the way, sorry, another sidetrack. We now have over 1,000 members, which is really awesome. Here you see 1,026 members so far, so that's pretty cool. Let's post a link to the group in the chat real quick. It's a bit too late to post pictures now for the review, but I do a weekly project, so you can, like every week there is something going on. Or some other stuff here. Is that new? No, that's an hour ago, so that's pretty cool. That's okay. Let's go. Wait. There we go. Okay, we're back. So thank you very much, Patrick. Really cool picture. Very nice combination. Nice colors. The edge thing is a bit like, I know it's hard to do. I can't do it myself that good. But maybe give it another try. Or maybe it is a selection that didn't go that well, because here on the skyline is also a little bit of this kind of bright area. So try to shrink the selection a little bit. What I do in that case is you can do the selection and then go to in the menu to set into the selection menu and then shrink it a little bit, and then go to feather and make it a bit soft, which makes the selection a little bit bigger again, but at the same time soft. And this means that you cut into the selection, the figure, for example, the guy, you cut into the guy a little bit, but because of the fading, it's going back to the edge of the guy, but you don't have then this kind of bright stuff that's in the background. So this helps with the selection. Okay, let's go on. I think we have a lot of still. Thank you very much, Kashino. All right. Colin, second go at this challenge. All my own photos. 3 different pictures. Really? Okay, so you have been, is it at the polar circle or what? Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. It's even you on the sledge. Wow. Okay. Pretty cool. Nice. So you can steer and ride one of these dog sleds, I think. Is it dog sled? I think it's dog sled, right? Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. I like the green in the sky. It has this kind of oh god. Who is this name? Who is this guy? He's not Not Edgar Allan Poe, it's Lovecraft. With this kind of like other dimensions, it looks a little bit demonic or stuff like that. If that's the idea of the picture, like because it's green, it looks like that. So yeah, pretty cool. Guy alone, and then the monsters coming from the sky. That's what I'm seeing. It's pretty cool. One thing, maybe if you have this kind of green light here in the sky, maybe have it also a little bit on the landscape, like a certain kind of ambient hue that is on there. Because if it's that kind of present in the sky, that kind of big in the sky, there should be some impression, even just a little bit of green on the landscape, and maybe also on the ground down here. So you have this is kind of reflected by that. But that's pretty cool. It's very nice. Very nice composition. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Thank you, Colin. By the way, here, these kind of elements, I mean, there's a really question how you blend that, because if you select that too hard, the edges might get too harsh. But you can see here, there is kind of, they look a little bit transparent, or there's kind of this glow going on here for some reason. So I'm not sure why that is. Here and here, there's a little bit of strange stuff going on in the mountains. But other than this, it's pretty interesting, pretty cool. Nice. All right, let's go. Oh, wow. Here's a completely different effect. Hi, Nicola. Thanks for joining. I'm doing well. Thank you. I hope you do well, too. Let's see. James Brown. There's a specific theme for every week and posts are related to them. Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. Arctic. 1981. Wow. Okay, that's awesome. That is really... How long was that ago? 40, almost, no, over 40 years. Wow. No, not over 40 years. Is it over 40 years? No, we have 2020 now, so it's 39 years ago. Interesting. Wow, okay. So I was born some years before this picture. I was like 4 years old when this picture was taken. That is pretty amazing. Wow. And of course, a much bigger risk back then than now. So that's really amazing. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, Kevin, hi. There we go. Let's look at that picture. Very different effect. Pretty interesting here. A landscape photo I took recently. I mirrored the photo to avoid the checked overlap. And that occurs if you just do the rectangular to polar transform, 1 of 3, the tunnel is not round due to the aspect ratio of the image size. Interesting. Okay, I didn't know you can do this kind of pill-shaped, like, how would you call that? It's not an oval because it has straight areas. It looks like a pill that you swallow. So this kind of shape, pill shape. So that's pretty cool that you can do this kind of effect with that. And I'm not sure what that is because these look like they are, how do you say, orchids? Water? No, not orchids. God, I have to look up. Water lilies. They look like water lilies. But then there is some other stuff here in the background that doesn't look like water at all here. This is some kind of shrine or something. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, pretty mysterious. And you have this guy looking basically out from this construct. It's very mysterious, very interesting at the same time. It's a really very nice combination. I really like also that you covered up these kind of stretches down here with the fog, not up here. So maybe there should be another solution to cover this part up here, unless you want this to be part of the image. And I would have maybe put a little bit of fog over the guy too, because there's a lot of fog going on and then none on him, unless he's standing and there's a glass wall between him and the scenery behind, and he's standing like looking through it, like in a zoo when you look through the glass onto the animals behind that. That could be the case, and this is maybe why there is no fog on him. But then maybe there should be kind of an effect that shows you that there is glass in front of that. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. Very nice. It has kind of this sci-fi effect. I think like if I look at that as like a sci-fi and a bunker, and he's looking out of that bunker, stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting. Lily pads. Okay, I'm learning a lot of words today. A pill, a big pill to swallow. Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Let's go on to the next picture. Oh, there's another one from Kevin. You came up with a lot of interesting shapes that you can do with these kind of with this kind of effect. So this has this kind of, oh god, another shape I couldn't describe. It looks like a moon, you know, like a little bit. I mirrored the image a couple of times before the rectangular to polar transformation to create the crescent shape. It's a crescent shape. Oh, interesting. Tunnel. At the end, I used the same landscape image 2 of 3. Ah, okay, 2 of 3. Now I understand. 1 of 3, 2 of 3. You use the same landscape. So there we have these kind of plants again. And again, this kind of thing here. Interesting. And there's the guy looking. So now this guy's covered with fog in this picture. So that's a bit different. Very interesting. And there's some kind of these shapes also going on up here. So it looks like this. You are inside of a tunnel. It looks a little bit like terracotta, like because of the color of the background, and like it's an artificially created tunnel or cave, like a shrine or something. Also with these kind of things here left and right, they look like certain kind of lights or decorations. So that's an interesting effect, and really interesting to try out these things to see what kind of other shapes you can get from that. I didn't even think about trying these kind of things. So that's pretty interesting. Very creative. Thank you, Kevin, sorry. And there's the next one from Kevin. Wow, okay. So you tried everything. That's really interesting. Oh, there's a bat this time. A bat, a ghostly shape. This could be a book cover, I think, for like a mystery, ghost story, like other dimension book. There's kind of this thing back here, which also looks like a snake, I would say. Pretty interesting. Had some fun with this one and tried to introduce a ghost. I used the same landscape image. So this is the same one again. And really nice how these elements, like these kind of grass things here or branches, they repeat in these different kind of layers this goes through. So that's pretty nice. And I like this negative shape that has this kind of ghost feeling to it. Really interesting. Very nice kind of a story that is going on here. Very nice. Very cool. Okay. Thank you very much, Kevin. You could try around with colors and with making maybe these like the deeper it goes into the tunnel to make it maybe a little bit more, a bit darker, give it a bit more contrast, and have the outside like it is, like this kind of brighter thing. So you get more of this kind of tunnel look into the image. Just try around, play around with that a little bit. That could be interesting. All right. Good. Let's go on. How many more do we have? Not too many. Okay, that's good. So there's another very creative one from Joshua. My first picture is going into sci-fi. Normally I do stuff in 3D. Wow, cool. Fun to come back to 2D in my hobby time. All right. Okay, cool. So this guy is grabbing for this effect or like pointing at it maybe. That looks pretty cool. Is that like a look from the space station or something? Because it looks like you are in the sky, or maybe that's just because it's a cloud picture with these kind of, I think these are mountains here in the background. It looks really interesting. It's really like you are in a space capsule or something, looking down into kind of a black hole or whatever is going on there. So very interesting. I also like this. Okay, now my brain is completely done. What is this? I made a pack about that. It's called, not lens flare. What is going on? What is my pack called? Sun flare? No. I can't remember my own stuff. Light leak. It looks like a light leak. There we go. My brain is back. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Very nice effect. I like how the blurriness of the hand, but then you can still see it. So you really have this kind of feeling that you look through something, but all the scene with this kind of opening here, a window maybe, and the guy is much closer and the focus on the background. So it gives a nice depth dimension. So that's really interesting. Okay, thank you very much, Joshua. Goalie catching the ball. That could also be. Yeah, light leak. All right. There's another one by Joshua. Wow. Okay. Holy crap. I don't even know how you did that. That is really interesting. this kind of pathway. It's a little bit bent here to the side, but it's really cool that this is actually progressing back into the picture, and at the same time the people and the path are not super skewed, so like they look like a normal path. So that's pretty interesting. Wow, really cool. That this landscape and the lighting back here and the kind of how the light goes against, you can see how there is a different light situation up here where there's more blue in the sky, and then there is more contrast and saturation down here on the ground, so you can see the actual colors, which is kind of what you would expect because of the distance. You know, when you look through air, through the distance, there is all this kind of dust and stuff going on in the air, which is the reason why the air looks blue through, or like not blue, but a little bit blue, a little bit desaturated, stuff like that. If you look at things in the distance, it's because there's a lot of stuff in the air that piles up if you look through a long distance. And so it's really cool to think about that, put that into the picture. So when you look up there and this is far away, it's actually desaturated and discolored a little bit. Yeah. One of the best shown tonight. Okay, cool. Yeah. Pellucidar? What is that? Let me check that out. Is that the name of an effect? No. Hollow Earth. Oh. Oh. It's a fictional hollow earth invented by American writer Edgar Rice Burroughs. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. Thank you, Linda. That looks pretty cool. All right. Did he write something, by the way? No, I already... no. Okay, let's go with some sort of mystery in nature for a totally different vibe. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Joshua. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, wait. Is there maybe... No. Okay, I thought there was another picture. Okay, that's a very... okay, I see. So this is the effect and these are the source pictures. So we have kind of a reference. Actually, good idea. Jonita says, hi, Olivio. I decided to try to challenge the challenge after watching the video. I used 2 photos. One of them was taken by me. The other one belongs to my son. The man is a photo from Pixabay. I look forward to your critique. The interesting part here is that this picture looks like it's a drawing, or maybe like it has this kind of effect on there to make the photo look like a drawing. So that's pretty interesting that you combine these kind of effects into one picture. It is interesting, but I'm not sure what exactly you tried to do there, because you have this kind of city that is surrounding the man, but he's standing on the side basically of a building, but the landscape has a very different kind of connection. You know, I can see how the ground from the perspective picks up the perspective of this kind of tunnel layout on the ground. So these kind of lines, you can see these kind of lines are actually kind of following the ground. So there's mixing well. Also, you have here this kind of element you want to like maybe remove before with the in-paint brush or something that is kind of sticking out here. So it's interesting, but you still have a lot of work to do to like from the like of idea of what you want to do, and from the kind of combinations of different kind of pictures. Like I said, the one looks like a photo, like is a photo. The other one looks like a drawing. So they kind of is kind of strange to mix them together in that kind of way. It is a nice attempt. It looks more like a sketch, so I would do some more things and let's just play around more with the elements to see what you can do with that. And also, again, like try to see when you do this kind of work or composition, is there kind of a story? Is there kind of a narrative? Is there kind of an idea in there that you can show through the picture? And if you want to show that idea, how would you have to arrange these elements so they would make sense and you would get some kind of idea from that, like we have seen before with the woman swimming into the tunnel, or the kind of warrior woman standing there in the cave, stuff like that. You have like a connection, an understanding of what is going on. And here the three elements look kind of disconnected. I mean, I could maybe see that the guy that is standing there is maybe a writer or something, and he is writing fiction. This is why one world is more like this kind of fiction drawing, and the other one is a real world. So he draws ideas from the real world for his fiction. But then again, there isn't really much connection between these two things, one being a city, the other one being a landscape with a waterfall. There should be some more elements, or like, there should be a different kind of connection to make it clear what is going on. But it's like, it's a start. Don't worry about that. Just give it more tries, play around with the elements, see what can come from them. Okay, thank you, Junita. Let's go on to the next one, which is again from Ellie Russell. Used on landscape, photo of bushfires from earlier this year. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So these guys are basically walking in the forest. I understand the idea, but like in this case, I feel like the trees are going like too extreme to the center, or like it could be like that, but it looks terrifying how they go like needles or like arms all to the center, grabbing something there. So this looks a little bit terrifying. And then at the same time, you have this couple down here. They walk very leisurely. At the same time, they are a kind of very dark, harsh silhouette. And there isn't really a reason why they should have this kind of very dark silhouette. They are not standing against a bright sky. You can see in the background, it's kind of an overcast day. On the ground, there is shadows, but not like super extreme shadow stuff like that. And there certainly isn't light coming from the front that gives you this kind of silhouette effect. So you would probably put in there two people who are not like a silhouette, but more like actual people with normal lighting around them who are walking there. But the ground down here, for example, in this case, is very, very stretched. So it would still feel a bit strange to have the people stand on a ground that is this kind of stretched and then themselves not being stretched. So, I don't know. I mean, you could make it into more like a horror scene, change the light a bit, change the different brightnesses, maybe make it a bit brighter in the middle, darker on the outside, have maybe kind of a cult leader figure with horns or something standing down there as a horror effect, stuff like that. I don't know, maybe, because like this, from my point of view, you might see something different. I see more like a horror kind of thing going on here. Bottom of a laundry basket. Okay. That's interesting. It's a strange laundry basket. Edgar Rice wrote Tarzan. Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Okay, interesting. Wow. I have no idea who wrote Tarzan. Is it like, I didn't actually, I have to tell you, I didn't even know Tarzan is a book. I thought it's just a movie, and then there is also graphic novels about that. I didn't know there's a book. Interesting. Okay, cool. Wow, all right. What is going on here? Okay. So this is by Paul. Pretty nice. Again, these kind of stripes, you want to like more zoom into the scene. Like I feel like if you crop this somewhere here before this kind of stuff starts, that would be better. Because it's like pretty cool that the landscape is going all around. The guy's looking towards us, so that's pretty cool. And if you would crop it like here, so the street doesn't go all the way around, I feel like that would be a better effect, especially because the camera is pretty low already, so you could imagine when you have a strong fisheye that the road is going actually from side to side, covering the sides of the picture. That wouldn't be a problem. And then you still have this kind of landscape going all around the scene. That's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Very nice effect. So I would try that instead of having these stripes there. But the effect itself is pretty nice. The overlap here could be a bit better up there. So this is very like standing out here, that they are smashing together the two ends of the landscape. And it looks like it's pretty similar, so you should be able to cover that up pretty easily and then just crop it a little bit different, and you have a pretty cool picture. So that's very nice. There's an entire series of Tarzan books, really? But have they been written after the movie or before the movie, or like for the movie? Like, for example, 2000... No, wait, what was it that? Yeah, 2001 Odyssey in Space was actually written for the movie, but as an independent book by a pretty good writer. So sometimes stuff like that happens. It's really interesting. Okay, let's go. This was by Paul. Thank you very much. How long is the stream already? I thought like I've talked for a pretty long time already. Where's my window? Oh, 1.5 hours. Oh my God. By the way, let me ask you, do you think I should review all the pictures that are posted because it's like starting to get a lot, or should I like say the best 10 pictures of the challenge, or the best, maybe not the, is it good to have the best pictures? Like the best pictures are the most interesting to look at, but the people who have the worst pictures need the most feedback probably. I don't know. Is it interesting that I talk so long about these pictures, or should we like limit it to a certain amount, 10 or 15 pictures, stuff like that? All right. Okay. Moritz says, yeah, thank you for tutorials. You're welcome. Thank you for watching them. And here is the effect, which is pretty cool. Very nice. I really like this kind of city that is kind of a tunnel as a city. So that's pretty cool. You know what? When I see this, like you can do you can do so cool effects with photo software, and then you can also at the same time like with 3D software. But in 3D software, you don't have the skewing of the buildings, so you can actually make a tunnel of buildings, like an actual tunnel city, and you can do so cool stuff with that. It's pretty amazing. But this looks pretty good. This looks really amazing. The only thing is that the buildings have this kind of pyramid kind of shape. You know, they get thinner to the top, which is completely okay. I understand with the effect. I'm just saying with 3D you could do it differently. But it's really nice, very cool. Very interesting effect. Also with the light and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Very nice tunnel city. In that case, because again, this is a really huge kind of tunnel, you could think about, if we go back to this picture by Joshua, to have this kind of difference between the ground and the top, to have a little bit of this blue fog and desaturation going on up here, or like not desaturation but a different color going on up here, to make it look bigger, to make the diameter of this like feel even more gigantic. You know what I mean? So that could be interesting. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very, very nice creation. All right. Okay. What's the feedback? Number of images per person? Yeah, we could do that too. That's true. Maybe because the number now is bigger, we could say maybe 2 or just 1 picture per person. That would be maybe a good idea, so we don't get too much and everybody gets a chance on a review. We can try that actually next time. I think 1 photo, but I think it's helpful for different levels of skills. Maybe 1 photo per person. Okay. We could also do that, like to say we have, like I ask people to vote on the picture, give likes, and then I review the picture with the most likes. But again, I feel like the people who already have good skills have less use. Like, of course, for everybody the feedback is nice, but for people who have more problems, the feedback is probably more useful. Although maybe they also benefit more from the feedback on good pictures. But yeah, I think reducing it to 1 picture per person is a good idea on the photos. All right. Okay, cool. So that's some pretty good ideas. Let me write that down 1 second so I don't forget about that. Okay, let's say 1 photo and then maybe vote. We can try these things, see how this evolves. All right. Okay. Oh God. How do you pronounce the name? Dai Nguyen? Sorry. It's probably different. Okay. It's an interesting effect. I understand. I kind of see the idea you had here to create that, but the problem here is that both of these boats are not really following the water that is going on here. Like this is just like you can see how the background is like, of course, has this kind of turn in there, but then the ship is just sitting on there like it's a flat ground in there. So maybe if you remove this one and just have, because I don't even know what this is. It looks like a raft with a folded in sail. Might be something different. Maybe it's kind of one of these swimming light buoys or just a buoy in the sea. So if you remove that and move this boat a little bit more to the center where the ground is more flat, and maybe have a different picture of a boat that is more going like this. So it's following the line of the ground. So you can actually imagine it sitting on there. That would be helpful. And at the same time, it would be a good idea to blend this, the colors of that boat with the lights, the ambient lights you have in the picture already. Because you can see like the color of the boats are completely different here. Like it seems like photographed in the night with some lights coming from behind, which is why this is kind of glowing here, stuff like that. This might be from one of these Asian city neon night pictures. It looks like that from the colors. So maybe a different kind of picture that also fits the light day situation better would be helpful to have more of this kind of illusion there that this is sitting on the water. Yeah, but it's a good idea. It's an interesting picture. It's a nice idea of combination of the elements, but the elements have to be combined a bit better so you have more of the illusion that the stuff is sitting in there. It's pronounced Nguyen. Nguyen. Okay, cool. So I know that. Is that what kind of name is that? Is that from Thailand or Vietnam, or? I guess it's from that region, right? Southeast Asian? Is that right? Vietnam. Okay, interesting. Do you know him, or? Because Rushabh is answering. So probably you know this kind of family name. So that's a Vietnamese name. Interesting. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. All right, there we go. Eye of the Storm, which is by Linda. Thank you very much for posting that. Oh, she also added some birds flying up into the sky. Pretty cool. It's really like very nicely done how they get smaller towards the center of this storm. So pretty nice. And also very nice idea, very nice combination of having this tunnel effect on the background with the sky, but then using these silhouette bushes or trees that are photographed maybe from below, I think more from the side, but they are put into the picture like they are photographed from below. So that's pretty nice. Very nice idea to combine it in that way. And it also looks very good. Like this is exactly what you would imagine the silhouette looking against the sky. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, very nice. Ah, you have here the name related to Vietnam. It's interesting. Make the reviewing as an episode of its own. Maybe. I mean, the live stream is on the internet anyways, you know, afterwards. And we're almost done. There's like just 2 more pictures. But like I said, like next time I will just have 1 picture per person. So we have more of a chance to get quicker through that. So Hashmead says, made from a photo in, oh God, Gruinart, probably completely pronounced differently, and one from Unsplash. It is, well, it is nice, but the effect is very extreme on the tunnel. It looks like an ornament, so it looks like there is like a kind of a painting in the background, so you don't think initially about the landscape. It looks very abstract, so maybe that's the intended idea here. Otherwise, try to make the effect a little bit softer by like not stretching it that hard. I think you like this push and pull effect to bring in the background of the tunnel was used a little bit extreme, and this is kind of compressing everything in the middle, like to the outside, pressing everything outwards a bit hard. And again, these kind of lines on the side, like rather crop it in the middle, so you don't have this. And the guys, like here, the couple, which is a nice idea that they are kissing here in front of the sky. But again, like they, especially here, they look like they are floating in the sky, standing on the clouds, and compared to the size of the clouds, they should be gigantic in that kind of situation. So to fit them in a little bit differently, maybe turn the picture upside down so they could stand on the beach, and then make the effect like less extreme. Maybe take another landscape where you see more of the beach, and then they can stand there, but then you have another picture, maybe not a silhouette in that case, but like picture of a couple kissing with more details in there where there's more light on the people. So yeah. Okay, but it's a nice attempt. It's a good idea, but you have to try a little bit more to combine these elements and not have this kind of very extreme stretching. All right, let's go to the last picture, which is by Arthur. City plane. Wow, again, pretty nice picture. Thanks for the exercise. Something I didn't have much interest in at first, but found it pretty cool and enjoying. All right. So thank you very much for trying that. This is really good because I often think like, when I do videos on a subject where I know this doesn't really touch a lot of interest out there in the community, but it's still an interesting topic. I wish like people would be a bit more experimental and still watch the videos, because you can always find things in there, techniques, ideas, concepts, all these kind of things that could inspire you for other things. So not often you learn something and it doesn't necessarily help you with what you're doing, but you find something in there that helps you with something that is not related to the initial task, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's always good to like look into other areas, get inspired by things you normally wouldn't do. It's a pretty cool picture. I really like how the things are combined. It has kind of a graphic, how to say, illustrative kind of effect, like it's a drawing, like it's like a pattern on the outside. At the same time, you see the city that's going on here, so it's pretty cool. I wonder if like the plane, you can see like the plane is centered, and I understand why, and it fits very well from the composition, but at the same time the plane is actually flying like over here. It's not coming out of the middle of the picture, you know what I mean? So that would be interesting to see if that effect would be better if the plane is coming like flying out of the picture, with a little bit of a different perspective on the plane either, or moving the plane a little bit to the side so it's flying to the center of the picture rather than overshooting the center. But maybe not. That's really like just you have to see and try if this would work or not. All right. Yes. Ah, yeah, Linda, that's what I mean. So a lot of these things that you learn, they can use interestingly in a like for under other purposes in other works. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Whew. So that's that. Let's switch over to the talk screen a little bit. There we go. Oh my god. I still hadn't had time to cut my hair. I look really bad. Okay, also my beard. I should cut my beard a little bit. Oh, my throat. Talking so much is really... All right. Good. So what should we do next? Oh, yeah, I was suggesting, I don't know, tell me if you think that's a good idea. Like you suggest artist names of photographers. We can look at the pictures and deconstruct the pictures a little bit by talking about the compositions, the different elements. Maybe we see certain reasons why things have been done in a certain way inside of the photograph or with the editing, stuff like that. Do you think that's a good idea, or should we rather do like just the normal composition things we do in every stream? Because I would be interested to see like how would be an episode where we just talk about different things and have more of a chat going on and all these kind of things, you know? So do you think that's a good idea? Do you want to suggest some photographers and we talk about that? Is that a good kind of thing? By the way, is my video not public because I'm seeing right now? Or is that kind of review not that interesting because I'm seeing I have only 11 viewers at the moment? It's public. Strange. Okay. Is these review things, are they not interesting maybe? My pixelated Polaroids on Instagram. Is that an artist? 48 are watching now. Also, I'm getting the wrong statistics here. Okay, but still, it's kind of a low number. What time is it? Well, it's a little bit late already, so maybe that's the reason. Let me reload this page. I hope this doesn't crash the stream. Oh, 50. Now it says 50. Okay. Interesting. Stream is still there, I hope. Yeah. Okay, it's still there. Good. Okay, cool. Let me have a look at this kind of pixelated Polaroid guy. One second. Because it would be really interesting to talk. I don't find a guy with that name. One second. Oh, there we go. Is that your own account maybe? Because it's just 3 pictures. No, I mean like artists, like famous photographers or stuff like that. Or we could look at Pinterest, stuff like that. To is that an interesting thing? One second. Where's my inspiration board here? Ah, there we go. One second, sorry. Also not really what I was looking for. You know what? Let's also, you're working on an object. What do you mean by object? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let me see if I can open this in... there we go. Okay. So I will start just with the picture. Let's do this for a little bit, see if that's interesting, and then we can still go over to edit something. I just wanted to try that out a little bit. So here we have a picture. I have this kind of like private inspiration board for myself. You see, for streams, things we could do in the streams. I try to collect more pictures. And for example, this one, we could look at this one. It says down here it's done by someone, like here in the picture, Julian Machin. Might be the person who created this. Doesn't have to be, because some people just put their names down there, but it's not really them. Just maybe that might be the picture page who posted that, stuff like that. But we can look a little bit about at that picture from the composition that is going on in the picture. It's kind of a nice work. Is like very interesting, creative way on how to use these kind of different elements. And like you can see, woman sitting there in the landscape. It's looking a little bit like it's floating in the sky. This kind of bedroom she's having there. And you have a lot of nice elements if you look at the picture of how you, like, let's look at that a little bit to see. And also let me create a pixel layer so we can draw on that if we want to. Okay, this is super like low resolution. Wait a second, if I click on that, do I get a better resolution? Instagram. There's the original picture. PSD universe, okay. So this is actually from that person. Oh. But, Wait a second. I will just see if I can find a better version of that. 1 second. No. This is also all low resolution. Anyways, it's good enough for our screen, so that's good. All right. So you have some very interesting elements in here. For example, one thing I find interesting about this picture is that it's, let me make this a little bit smaller here. That she didn't remove the wall here, because you could have like ended it over here and that would have been okay. And then this is all landscape. But because the wall is there, you have an additional kind of layer that tells you more about the story. So this kind of element here gives you more of a story that she's sitting inside of a bedroom and you're not confused. You don't have to analyze or understand anything about the situation that's going on here, because the other interesting thing is, if you look at that area down here, this looks actually like mountains. So it's a pretty nice combination of these pictures to take into account, to take a picture, a search for a picture where the bed and like how her legs are under the bed are creating this kind of landscape, is kind of flowing out here as you would expect from a landscape. So that's a pretty interesting kind of thing. And if you would have that, let's crop this real quick. Where do we go? There we go. If you have it like this, you are more confused about what is going on and what these elements are. It's kind of harder to understand, is this part of the landscape or not? So you can see, like, it's still a cool picture, but you have to think a little bit more about what is going on. Maybe she's actually sitting in nature. Maybe she was just sleeping under the sky without a tent. That's a possibility. But because of this element here, you understand easily that actually she's in her bedroom and this is maybe kind of a dream situation. And the dream situation, this is another interesting element, is supported by these clouds that are made. If you look down here at these areas, these clouds that you find here, And if you look at this detail here, for example, the cloud is actually coming over the edge of the table or whatever that is down here, as if this is a giant structure out there. And also here, like the smoke is touching the surface of this, and also with these other elements here where it's coming out a little bit under the side, out of these kind of niches, little gaps in there. And the cool thing also is over here, let's remove those, you even have some clouds, at least it looks like some clouds that are creeping up here the door frame. So these are some interesting elements that merge the landscape and the bedroom together, but not in a way where you confused over which is what in that kind of situation, but they support this kind of dream situation in the image. So that's pretty interesting kind of combination, very smart way to combine this. Also up here or in front of here, we have these kind of layers. And it's also interesting from, like, if you think about most pictures, like if they have a good composition, they often come in 3 layers. And you can see here, again, here you have the foreground, which is this kind of area here. Then you have the middle ground, which is that kind of area here. And then you have the background, which is this kind of situation. So you have 3 different layers telling you 3 different things about the picture in the story. So there's a pretty interesting way to do that. And if you remove several of these layers, the picture looks flatter and gives you a lot less information. Sorry. So for example, if we remove the foreground like that, now you only have 2 layers, and you can see how flat the image suddenly looks. And you can also see that suddenly this kind of area here, it just looks like it's stuck onto the background. Suddenly the illusion is mostly gone, even if you still have these kind of cloud effects going on here and here a little bit. It just looks like a layer that is stuck on the rest of the picture. But here with these kind of 3 layers, there is more depth to the picture, and it looks more interesting and gives you a lot better story. Sorry, I should look at the stream. At the chat. My God, my brain is really fried today. Not sure what's going on. Okay, let's put this over here. Oh, now if I put this over here, we have 2. Why isn't there a chat? Oh, because the chat is overlaid by the picture of my... Oh, wow. Oops. Sorry. There we go. It's overlaid, and now I can't see the rest of my... Okay. No. Should be up here. Anyways. Okay. Let's look at the chat real quick. You deserve a bigger audience. I hope so. I hope I get a bigger audience. That would be pretty cool. Okay, cool. So Jeannie likes these kind of reviews. That's pretty cool. Yeah, very nice. Let's talk a little bit more about this picture. So thanks for liking this. So another cool element here is if you look at the kind of how this is blend together, and you have these kind of, if you look at these colors back here, and you have the same colors, similar colors up here, but just in that kind of area where the light falls from the landscape. But then back here in this area, it's more of the kind of colors you have in the bedroom. So that's very nice that at the same time you have this kind of ambient light, and it's coming from the right direction from where this light is coming from. But at the same time, it's still keeping a little bit of the original light. So you have the situation that you're at the same time in the bedroom and in this kind of fantasy landscape. So really very thoughtful edits in this kind of picture. So that's very nice, very cool. Okay, maybe let's go to another picture. Let's see what else we have that stands out to us. What else should we look at? lot of these fantasy combinations. We have tried to recreate that. Not really recreate, but like make a kind of version of that inspired by that. So that's kind of interesting. We could look at that, for example, although this is a 3D rendering, it's not really a photograph. But we can look at that a little bit. Let's see. Let's open this up because there's some interesting. This guy is a bit freaky. If you look at his Instagram, he's called Bibelcrap. He does pictures every day. Hey, Bibel, this guy. Look him up on Instagram. He does some really creepy stuff and also some really cool stuff. So, yeah. And because he does this every day for the last 30 years or even longer, of course, he has a lot of experience on how to do these kind of things. So here the nice thing is, again, like I said, like before, you have several layers and these layers give depth and they give additional information. So in this case, if we look at the picture again, and it's not easy to create these layers all the time. It's just like in a good composition, you might try to get those in there if they are needed. Not every composition needs them, but you can see here, this area, everything that's below that is kind of the foreground. Maybe even these parts on the side here are part of the foreground, although I would say those are part of the middle ground because they seem to be on the same height as this astronaut. So let's change the color here a little bit. So you have this as the middle ground with the astronaut in there. And then the rest of the stuff is basically the background. We could even say that this is all part of the middle ground. So everything that's outside of that, all this kind of stuff is the middle ground. And all the stuff that's back there is the foreground. And then you have these elements here in the background. And you see how they give you different information. It's not the same thing. It's not just there. It's actually, it has all kind of a different purpose, you know? So that is pretty interesting. So, for example, if you look here, like foreground, in this case, the elements are not super important. It's just like you can see it's a very rough, jungle ground with these kind of roots down there, not easy to walk through, stuff like that, which makes it probably also more adventurous to look at the scene, but also at the same time it gives you a little bit of guidance towards the center of the image, so that's pretty nice. But the other element here, like if you look at the middle ground, this huge thing here basically gives you a frame around our astronaut, and at the same time it gives you a much story of this kind of jungle that is going on here, and at the same time it frames in the vision towards the center. You can see here all this kind of stuff that is going here, so you don't have any kind of need, you don't have any kind of reason to look towards the outside in that case, compared to the picture we have seen before where a lot of stuff is going on in the surrounding. So that is pretty interesting. And like I said, you have this kind of framing, you have this kind of setup of this kind of jungle in blue in that case, so kind of a darker scene. But then in the background, this kind of situation, you have more. First of all, you have kind of a second frame around our astronaut, and you can see that while in these areas there is a ton of stuff going on, in this area there is less going on because there's less detail because of all the fog. And then behind the astronaut, there's almost nothing going on. It's almost empty back here. You have a little bit of these vines hanging down, but other than that, this is just a gradient in the background. It's not just a gradient, but you know what I mean. There's like, you don't see a lot of details back there. If you would have a lot of details back there, it would be a lot less visible. Like, for example, let's say we copy this part, copy, fill, and move this. Oh, this didn't work. Okay, 1 second. Let's rasterize this real quick. Maybe take another part of the picture. Let's take this part up here. Copy, fill, so we have just that part. Let's see if we can fit this back here. Behind the guy. Can we do that? without taking up too much time. Can we do it like that, maybe? Yeah. It's kind of good. Well, let's erase this a little bit. 1 second. No, that's way too big. There we go. So let's bring out the astronaut. Let's blend this a little bit on the sides. So you can see, like, if there was a ton of stuff going on back there, which originally it would, if you would take a photo of a jungle, of course you would see the stuff in the background, but here it is removed through the light situation and the fog. Like here the readability is really bad of the astronaut. You can hardly see him in all the stuff that's going on, but here it's removed and you have this additional frame around him. So one frame, a second frame, all these kind of vines and kind of even the side of the tree pointing towards him, all the attention on him. So it's really easy to see him, very good readability. At the same time, in the background, you have this kind of warmer pink, nice color, very inviting. It looks more like adventurous in a positive sense, but he's walking towards a darker area because you can see from the kind of direction he's taking on the ground that he's walking here into this kind of darker area. So things get more dangerous for him. So he's coming from kind of a situation that is nice into kind of a dangerous situation, although, and this is interesting, he's walking from the right side to the left side, which is actually the other direction that you would expect, because this is usually the away side and this is usually the home side. So yeah, that's interesting that he's walking in that direction. We could, by the way, let's turn the picture around real quick to give you a view of, you can see how this is different now. Wait, let's duplicate this. Flip horizontally. Okay. So you can see from this kind of picture how different the emotion is that you have towards the picture compared to that just from the walking direction he's taking. You see? And it's really interesting. If you look at it like this feels more, how do you say it? Is disconcerting the right word? Disconcerting. Disconcerting. Okay, it's more disconcerting, this one, than this one. Because here it looks like more like a relaxed kind of stroll in that kind of way. Because he's coming from home, he looks really relaxed. Everything's like dandy. He's just out there. And that one, to me, it feels different. Like he's walking there into something that should be home from the position, but it's the unknown. So combining the home with the unknown is like, it feels maybe a bit more lost, stuff like that. Discomforting. Is there a difference between disconcerting? Discomforting? What is discomforting? Discomforting. Unbehaglich. That could also be discomforting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here in that kind of picture. By the way, another thing to point out here in that picture is if you look at the elements that the artist choose to use, like these rods down here, the kind of tree that you find over here, these long air rods that you have here, and these vines that hang down here, all of these elements are things that you would associate easily with a jungle without knowing much about a jungle, and with kind of a more exotic area. Because, for example, in Europe, you don't really find these kind of, or I think also in maybe North America, you find these kind of rods that go through the air and not through the ground. Different kind of things, different kind of plants who use that. And of course, these kind of Okay, now I forgot the word. This is kind of my brain. 1 second I say the word, the next second I forgot the word. Wines, the wines hanging down here, has this classic kind of association with the jungle. So, and this is really helpful if you look at the picture, especially if you have pictures like this who have more kind of this pop aesthetic of being like a sci-fi movie or something. You want to have elements that are very easy to read, very easy to understand, and still you get the idea of what is going on. So choosing the right elements to follow a visual language that makes it that much easier to get the idea, makes it for the people more pleasant to look at the picture. So that's an interesting element. And the reason for this also, like you might have here the kind of saying every time you, for example, you write a text and you use a formula in the text, or you use a strange, complicated word, you halve the audience, is true, not because the audience doesn't necessarily understand what is going on, but because it feels and it is more specific, and so it hits the interest of less people, you know? And this is a major factor in like how many people do I want to approach with that, how many views or how much attention do I want to attract by that. And if you want to have a lot of attention, of course, you need to hit the nerve and the interest and the understanding of a lot of people. So the picture has to be that much easier to be deciphered by them, you know. By the way, one thing we also didn't speak about is you have this light that is shining here, and is shining like a stage light. You see here? And this is even picked up a little bit by the plants in the background. You can see here like that. This might be only the light, or maybe this is how the leaves are growing, but certainly down here, these ground elements, they point up here. You can see that. So that's pretty interesting, and they follow this kind of light beam that is going even here, these kind of vines. You can see here how they line up to support this kind of light beam that is shining through here and shining at the main part of our main actor. So that's a pretty interesting little element here to have in the picture. So you see, there's a ton of thought going into these pictures, and it's really interesting to analyze and to learn a lot from them. By the way, one thing that really stood out to me when I flipped this picture around is when you look at this, looks pretty good, looks pretty balanced, looks pretty right. And then you flip it around, and this thing is like a sore thumb. It's like it's really standing out. Why is this there? You know, that is really strange. Sticks out like in this, if this was the composition, I don't think he would have left this in here, because this is really strange. It's also really distracting, and I think the reason why this is so super distracting in this kind of position of looking at it is because we read and also look at pictures from this side, from left to right. And so this is what we see first, and then we see the character because of our reading habit, of our looking habit. So that's pretty interesting. And if we turn that around, you can see that this is a lot less obvious. And also, like, I don't know about you, but if I look at this looks a lot bigger than this. This looks a lot smaller to me because it's further away. And if it's further away but has the same size, it kind of, no, that's actually wrong. It's further away, has the same size. It should be bigger, but it feels smaller. You know what I mean? So it's pretty interesting. Okay. Right. Good. Is that interesting, or is everybody like super bored by these kind of explanations? I don't want to. I want to have like good content that is interesting for you. I mean, I myself, for me, it's super interesting to analyze these pictures, but I'm here to make cool content for you. So tell me if that's good, if you like these kind of talking about these kind of things. Okay. I wish there was kind of a voting kind of thing in the... Oh, by the way, I think I can do a vote on the Streamlab thing, but let's not try that tonight. Okay. So you... seems like a lot of people like that. Okay, cool. So let's go on with that a little bit, I would say. How much do we have? Like 2 hours 17 so far. So that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. So let's go on with that a little bit. I mean, I have a really great time doing these kind of things. It's always nice to analyze pictures in that way. Let's see, what else could we look at? I mean, this is pretty cool. By the way, keep this in mind, and you will see when this appears as an inspiration in a work I created. Wink, wink. Okay. Let's go on with, I don't know, what else, what other kind of pictures we have here. We could look at this one. Or maybe should we look at pictures that are like, we can also look here at more ideas to see if there is some other, wow, okay, there's some really crazy stuff going on here. This has some interesting elements. It's basically the same, like similar elements we have looked at before. Wow. This is also an interesting element. Oh, this is a nice idea here. You see, like with the shadow, this is kind of easy to do. We can look at this really quick. Let's copy this over here. This is a super cool effect. It's pretty easy to do because the only thing you do is to take two pictures basically. And of course, in one picture, you stand there with your shoes on, and then you just take another picture just with your shoes. And then you just like remove the other part of the picture. So that's super easy and it looks pretty cool. So you can do a lot of cool things with this kind of effect here. All right. These are paintings. So, I mean, it's still interesting because you can do similar things with photographs. Here's an interesting picture. Let's have a quick look what the chat says. A frame from a Star Wars movie. Maybe. But like what kind of frame? To my dad, I wanted to digitally restore them. I made a tutorial on how to restore pictures. If you go to my channel, wait a second. So if you go to my channel, there is this icon here for search, and then you can just, for example, enter Alt. And you can see here, this is fix Alt. I wrote fix wrong. Okay, interesting. Wow. Where I show how I restore this picture. So you can look at that on what kind of techniques I use to remove these cuts and bruises of the picture and kind of other stuff, and adjust the contrast so you get this kind of haze, remove the haze a little bit. So you can check that out. And I made another one to adjust the colors in the picture. So you can also check that out. All right. And by the way, for everybody who joined late, I will make a video. I made a video, but it will be shown on the Affinity channel from this Lockdown 2020 project, where I do a sci-fi landscape in Affinity Photo. It's like a half an hour long, the video, I think, because they said it can be up to half an hour. So I thought, okay, let's go for half an hour. I think it's a bit shorter. And I sent them a picture with my cat Lolo, so they put them also in the thumbnail of the picture. So that's pretty cool to have my cat. It's amazing how small that cat is because it's a full-grown cat, but it's super tiny. It's really nice. All right, so if Lolo is also famous now. I hope a lot of people watch that. All right, let's go on. Okay, I wanted to talk about this. You can see here, like this, for example, is a really interesting picture in the sense of, let's copy this over real quick, in the sense of that it uses basically just one color which is kind of this orange in different kind of brightnesses, basically. It's just mixing a little bit with brown, stuff like that, but it's basically just one color. And but the interesting thing is you still have a very high readability. Even if you make it very small, you can see like this, you kind of still get what is going on. And the elements are used pretty smartly also in this kind of picture here. So again, like if we look at the picture 1 second, you can see that, for example, there is, you can imagine that there is a reason that the back, like the ground here is wet. And like, if you imagine the ground wouldn't be wet, you wouldn't have this kind of reflection, and then you wouldn't have this kind of frame around the main character here. It would just like, the light would just blend out to both sides, and there wouldn't be a frame. So, wait a second, let's duplicate this real quick. And then rasterize this, and then where is this kind of brush? We have kind of a, there it is. I think this is the one. Unload. This is one of the strangest brushes in Affinity Photo. It's called the Color Mix brush. No, clean brush. Okay, there we go. So let's, oh God, it's a very strange brush. But let's do this a little bit just so we blend these outsides a bit. Maybe I should have used a smudge brush. This doesn't look good. Let's go back. Rasterize. Where's the smudge brush? There. Let's see if that's better. No. The hell is going on here? Come on. Okay, let's try one more way to do this. Let's take some of this darker area here. Make the brush a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so like this, if the ground wouldn't be wet, you can see how hard suddenly it is to see the figure down here. It is really not that visual. And like if you see it here now, it could like be just a dirt smidge. It doesn't have to be a figure standing there. It still looks a little bit like a figure because it's like that's kind of the shape of a standing person. But if you compare it to this, it's much more visible, and the attention is focused very much because of these lines, because of the frame around the figure is very much focused around that figure. So the reason that the ground is wet in this picture is very likely because you get this kind of effect and you get this kind of highlight around the person standing here. And it's also very nice that he introduced these kind of steps here, because again, if you wouldn't have these steps, it would maybe be a more boring picture, harder to read picture. So let's remove the steps real quick by pushing this up here, like so. Let's zoom out here. And you can see if this is so small, it's still a pretty cool picture, but it's less kind of stuff going on. And it's kind of also kind of hard to understand. Like suddenly this doesn't look anymore like it is a gate that this guy could walk through. It looks like a sunbeam, like a energy beam that is coming from the ground in some way. And this looks a little bit like a hill. You wouldn't think that this is like a room and this is a flat floor. It looks pretty different now. So if we move this back and we now have these stairs back in here, this looks a lot more like a room, like a really big hall, and this looks like an opening at the end of a hall, because we just know how steps look, and because this is kind of this industrial structure that is man-made. You wouldn't confuse this with the natural structure that's occurring in the landscape. This has to be done by some human, you know what I mean? So pretty smart combination of all these kind of elements. Very nice, very readable, and with very little elements in here. It's just like a gate and some stairs and a guy. That's it. There's no more, and it's just one color basically. That's also very amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like one hue basically, getting different kind of brightnesses. Of course, it's more than one color, but all this kind of yellow orange kind of stuff. So pretty cool. Let's have a look at the chat real quick. It's a painting brush, that is why, not very advanced. Yeah, it's kind of a painting brush. It's like the purpose is to blend two different colors together as if they would be like oil or like wet colors that mix together, but in kind of a strange way. So, and it's like you said, it's more for digital painting. Yeah. So that's very different. I've noticed that a majority of the images have diagonal compositions via objects or lines or image lines. Any specific reason? Diagonal compositions. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, thank you, Twen. I know what you mean. So that's interesting. We can look at that. So like if you have compositions in a picture, like for example here, you have a center composition. Where's my thing again? Here. So you can see, oh, 1 second. We need more here and a smaller brush now. Boom, like that. So like we have these lines here, there is a line, and then you have here a very much a center line like that. And you can see like this is extremely stable as a picture, and this is extremely like powerful as a picture at the same time. Like if you have something in the center, it looks very sturdy and very strong and very powerful. It can also look intimidating in a certain way, depending on how the picture is composed. And so, and also very static at the same time, you know? So if you want to create this kind of look of something that is powerful or intense or scary or static, to put it in the middle is kind of is a good way to make it feel like that. But if you put things to the side, like left side, right side, doesn't really matter. It looks more like it is still moving. There is a story going on. It's more like in a certain kind of flow. It's less static. It's less strong in that kind of way. We could, like, for example, look at this guy here for a second. Let's copy this image in here. Or we could also use that. Yeah, but this is too dark maybe. Let's have a look at this picture. So you can see again in this picture the guy standing in the middle. And it looks kind of... well, 1 second. I want to make my brush a little bit smaller again. There we go. So here in this kind of center of the image, it looks kind of sturdy, right? How he's standing there. He looks a bit like powerful, not very confused by this thing. He's kind of embracing the gate. So he doesn't look weak, I would say, in that kind of situation where he's standing. But if you now take the guy, let's move this guy here. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this is pixel. Okay, good. So if we, for example, if we take that guy and move him to the side, of the picture. Of course, now he has this kind of shine around him, so maybe that's a bad example. And if I blend this, we don't see him anymore. Anyways, let's try this real quick. It's a bad example. We will find a better picture, but I want to just like try this for a second. Let's remove this guy here. Okay. It's not the best example. Yeah, now we can't see him anymore because the background is gone. Okay, that's not a good idea. Wait, why is he okay? Let's make it like this and then make this a little bit softer around so it doesn't look that strange. Okay. Let's go out again. All right. So I think he was standing here before, right? In that position, like kind of center of the image, like that. So you can see, like in this kind of situation, can you see that good, or is that kind of too small to see in the stream? I'm not sure. Let's put this at 130. There we go. So this is, I think, as big as I can go. Okay, so I would say, like, if you look at this position, he looks kind of comfortable. He looks like he's confident. He's standing there, embracing that kind of gait. Doesn't really have much of a problem with the situation, I would guess, right? If you put the same guy over here to the side, the gate, it looks like he's a lot more intimidated by the gate, right? He's a different kind of situation. It's more like you look at it, you think he's like, should I go through there? It looks like he's leaning away from the gate now suddenly. He feels like, also the gate feels a lot bigger suddenly. He feels a little like, it's like a situation of, okay, I'm lost. My spaceship has lost all its energy. I'm the last survivor. Should I really go through the gate or not? I don't know. I feel like this could be like life or death or something, you know what I mean? So it feels like more intimidating this way rather than when he's standing over here where he's like, yeah, okay, cool, gate, let's go. You know? Do you feel the same way? Because it's like, this is kind of the difference between this kind of center situation and the off-center situation where it's kind of more, it's not as stable, it's weaker as a situation. Yeah. Invert him. Yeah, we could also do that so he's brighter. That's true. But it's kind of good. Can you still see him, or is he kind of invisible? I don't want this to be like I'm talking about something you can't see. Let's maybe try to invert that. Yeah, but then it's kind of this ghostly figure. We can try with another picture. Maybe that wasn't the best kind of example. And so if we go to these other pictures, let's go back. Whoa. Oh, hey, thanks for the donation. Very cool. Thank you very much. Wow, nice. And there was even this kind of overlay, so that's actually working. Thank you very much. Was there a message with that? No. I think you can write a message when you do a donation through the chat. So thank you, JSB. Thank you very much for supporting my channel. That was really cool. Yeah. Wait a second. So you said before that a lot of these are diagonally from the design. And like this is when you have this kind of diagonal thing, there is a lot more motion. It's less static, the thing that is going on. There's a lot more like energy flowing in the picture of the kind of situation that's going on. We could also look at this picture here, for example. Let's copy this image over. place it here. So you see, like, although the situation is starting down here in kind of a center situation, here, like that. Whoops, that was pretty not straight. There we go. From here on out, this is kind of going to the side, to the right side. Again, left to right a little bit. So that's interesting, and it is more like, you can see how this situation up here is a lot more dynamic than this situation down here. It feels more static, and the people, they feel like they're just standing around looking at the stuff that is going on here. They don't feel like they are moving in a particular direction together with each other. So now we could, for example, take... Should we just take everything? No. We have to have a cone here. Let's take it like this. Boom. All right. I have to rasterize this. Copy fill. Okay. So now if we would rotate that, we have to have... Here is the origin point that you can turn on. Then you see this point here, and I can move this now down here. So it rotates around this position. As you can see, I can make this straight like that. Okay, so let's make this straight. And then also maybe move it more to the center of the picture like that. And is that straight? Pretty much, yes. All right, good. Okay, so it is a similar picture, but you can see that this is a lot more static right now than before that we had. Like, this is very dynamic situation. These are flying out, coming in, I don't know. But there is a lot of kind of energy going on between all of these kind of elements. There is still kind of an energy going on here, but all of this now looks more static. It also at the same time looks more powerful, you know? So that is kind of interesting. Like, this is kind of a generator or something, and it's kind of, there is some kind of more energy, while this is more like a exploration kind of thing, space probes starting somewhere. This is more like energy is moving from one point to another point, while here you have kind of a static energy that is kept inside of this kind of construct. So it has kind of a different feel to it, a different kind of a story to it, if you know what I mean. So that's pretty interesting how these kind of things, are they center or not? Are they going to the side or not? Have this kind of different story. And because of that, and you know, also with photography, if you take it from a side angle, things look dynamic. If you take it from a static, like front angle, things look less dynamic, even though it's the same thing. So that's pretty cool. We can look, for example, on Unsplash. Let's see if we find picture. Wait. If I write angle here, does it give me something? Let's see. Or let's, I don't know, let's share. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is an example here that we can look at. I don't find good examples right now. Let's go house. I mean, I guess you know what I mean. If you photograph it on an angle, it looks a lot more dynamic, even if it's just the same picture. I don't find any angle pictures. This is what I find a little bit annoying about Unsplash. That, like, almost all of the pictures are photographed in the very same way. Like it's always center, it's always front. There's very little, like this is a little bit for the side. But again, the house is in the center, the door is in the center, the gold thing here is in the center, everything is in the center. I don't know why they are so fixated on this kind of center situation. Here, gate in the center of the picture, where else? It's really strange that every kind of photographer on Unsplash seems to have this kind of center fixation for their pictures. This is a house that's a bit to the side, you can see. So you can also see how much of a difference that makes if the picture is on the side. From below, or just from below maybe. Wait. From above. No, that's too high. Okay. Let's take this and then woman. Okay, let's take this. Good. So we have some pictures here. Where's the other one? There we go. Okay. So you can see this is just from the front and there's no angle in the picture. So this looks very static. She doesn't look like she's moving and we know she's standing. But this woman is also standing. She's not moving, but it looks a lot more dynamic, a lot more energy in there, a lot more like, yeah, kind of feeling in there just because it's photographed from an angle. And you can like basically use any kind of angle, and depending what kind of angle you use, of course, you have different kind of emotions, different kind of like energies going on. For example, here we look from her from below, so she's bigger than us basically. Which gives her more power. If it would be from the other side around, she would be smaller than us. We would look down at her, so she would look weaker than us. So this is like, you also see this a lot in movies, for example, this kind of thing. Like often very subtle, like just a bit above, just a bit below, and still you have this kind of effect. There was a really interesting episode, I don't know, from, I think it was Star Trek or something, and he was speaking to another guy over this kind of video phone, whatever, this kind of screen that they have. And before, the guy was powerful and yeah, and you have to do what I say to you, blah, blah. And he was filmed a little bit from below. Just a tiny bit, not even like, it's actually a fair bit. So he was bigger. You knew that he was like the bigger figure here, and he was the boss, not just from what he was saying, but also from the camera perspective. And then afterwards, he was proven wrong, and it was filmed from the other side, like the camera was above him, filmed downwards a little bit, and also at the same time they made the screen smaller. So now it was a screen standing at the table. The other guy was looking down at him, and the picture on the screen was from an angle filmed down at the person, so the person looked really small and weak at that kind of situation. So yeah, I can do a lot of stuff with angles. Again, here you can see this was very, very static, and this looks more dynamic because it's photographed at an angle, even though it's photographed from the straight at the object, but the object is at an angle in this kind of situation. It's a little bit above, you can see, because we can see the seating area here. But still very different energy in these kind of pictures. So that's really interesting what you can do with that, and to think about that. If you take a picture, what kind of emotions do I want to have there? What kind of energies do I want to have there? How should the person feel that is looking at my picture, or that I portray in the picture? This is, by the way, also the reason why, if we think about portraits, for example, or let's go one second. Let's go to Google for a second. Famous photo portraits. So the reason why taking portraits is such like a hard thing to do, and why portrait photographers, like really good portrait photographers, not the normal ones where you take your passport picture, but like the really good ones, they spend sometimes days, sometimes weeks with the person, do interviews with them, look at the surroundings, how they live, what their habits are, stuff like that, to get a better picture of them, and then take the picture of the person, because all of these kind of elements you want to put into the picture describe the person and the kind of energy and all these kind of things. So by using these kind of elements in the picture, you want to describe the personality and basically kind of make a biography with just one picture, with just these kind of elements that are in these kind of pictures. So that's pretty interesting, that there is a lot more effort than just taking a photo of a person, you know. And you can see, like here, if you compare this picture of Einstein with the picture of Dali, super different. Like you can see, like, this is on an angle. He has this kind of strange look on his eyes. The eyes are really wide open. He looks a little bit crazy. The beard, his famous beard going up, very energetic, framing his face a little bit. So that's pretty nice. So there's a lot of really strange things, and also a high contrast to the background going on here. Very high energy, intense picture. And then on the other hand, you have this kind of picture, which is very much the opposite, basically. Very thoughtful, very like soft and relaxed, and maybe not relaxed, but you need like, how can I say, not aggressive in the same way, you know? So very different personalities, and it's reflected in the pictures, you know. So this is really interesting to to have these, and also look at these kind of pictures and what kind of things they want to portray through them. All right. Okay, enough about that. Let's go back to. Should we go on with that? What time is it, by the way? Oh, we have some time. Okay. Nobody's using the chat? I'm talking again too much. I was thinking about having a conversation more, but I'm always falling back into just talking about things. I really hope that's interesting. All right. What else could we look at here? There's some goofy pictures in here, too. But I wanted to look at more of the interesting pictures. There was one picture I wanted to look at specifically. Where is that? There's this kind of gate. I mean, it is really a good exercise to look at drawings like this, like digital paintings. And the reason for that is because if you look at a painting or a 3D artwork compared to a photograph, you know that all of the elements are just there because the artist put them there. So everything that's in there has a purpose and has a reason. Nothing is there by accident. And so these are often easier to analyze and to understand than photographs, where a lot of things can be mistakes or just happened, or like be there because they are just there, you know. It's like in an artwork, it's often easier to see that. And also, of course, the artwork doesn't have as many details as a photograph has. Because reality has like endless amounts of details, while a digital painting also only has the amount of details that the artist puts in there. Where was this picture? This is also nice. This is also a nice example here. There's a lot of nice examples here. What is going on here? This is also nice. Yeah, like, okay, let's look at these two pictures here. Just for the, like I said, what you can learn from these digital creations rather than compared to pictures. Because in pictures, like I said, it's so easy to say, well, it's just there because it's there, without thinking maybe the artist put it there on purpose. And like I said, you don't know. It could be like just there. So let's put these two. So these have two very interesting elements I want to talk about real quick. Also because we do all of these kind of compositions, and we have talked a little bit about that. Again, this kind of readability, but also this kind of light situations. And as you can see, our eyes are attracted by light. Because we see with light, basically. So we look at things that are lighter first and then at things that are darker, because the lighter areas give us more information. So that's just a natural process that we are drawn to very easily. And so the good thing here is that you have all this stuff going on here, but then you have down here this monster, this kind of giant wolf that's coming up towards the house here. And there is a light here, and because of the light, we look from up here to down there because there is a new attraction point, and then that we see that, because this could also be a rock. Doesn't have to be like a giant monster that's coming up. And when you look a little bit closer, you see all the details, and you see there's a guy in here, or a woman maybe, in this little kind of elevator that's going on here. So that's pretty interesting. And if you would remove that, let's remove this real quick. Clone brush, make that a little bit smaller, and then we want to start here and just paint this, or maybe take the in-paint brush. 1 second. Current layer and below, there we go. Let's remove that stuff here. Boom. Okay, gone. No. Okay. So now you can see that is a very different like composition. There's still a little bit of brightness here, residue from the original picture. Actually, let's paint over this real quick. 1 second. Give me some of that darker area here, and then reduce that a little bit in brightness. Paint on here a tiny bit. Brush is too hard. There we go. Okay. Let's go like that. Okay, so you can see now how different it is, how much less attracting this area down here is. You would mainly look at this, and there is this super bright moon in the background, and you wouldn't have a real reason to look down there. There's still a bit brightness, but you know what I mean. Like, we can make this even darker. Maybe move this a little bit also over the mouth of the guy here, so we have the darkness here also. And suddenly the readability down here is pretty much gone. There is not really a reason to look down there. And also, it suddenly looks less interesting. It looks less attractive to look down here. Even if the monster is coming down there, you're more like, yeah, whatever. Okay? But with that here, there is like, this is like actually like the worm for the fish, you know, like luring us in looking at that element. Sorry, I zoomed out too much maybe. So that's pretty interesting. This element here is a little bit distracting, maybe. I know it's kind of this kind of side story. I'm not sure what this is, by the way. So that's also maybe a bit of strange decision to put this here. It could be a toilet. Maybe this is also the way he comes out of the mountain. There's a tunnel to the other side, so he gets to his house. I don't know. It's kind of a strange thing. It looks probably a toilet. Although, you see, like here, for example, for the readability, for the reason of understanding what is going on here, there could be a certain element here to tell you, is it the entrance or is it a toilet? So I don't have to ponder about that, you know? For example, if there would be a little heart shape here, let's put a little heart shape here, you immediately know, yeah, that's a toilet, of course. This is how toilets look, because they have this little heart shape here in the stories, right? So there is no kind of need to ponder about, okay, what is that? Or if you would put a bell here, you know this is kind of an entrance, stuff like that. All right, and then let's go back to the other picture. Let's close that. Pretty, again, again, you can really see, at the same time, this is really interesting here. Let's make this a little bit smaller again. So again, you have here a center position. You can see here and here, very much centered of that. So character looks pretty powerful in that kind of situation. at the same time, what is interesting here is that we still have some dynamic here because, like, first of all, this kind of dynamic, we are below that person, so we are looking up at that person. We are like a small child maybe standing there, or this is just a giant person. And then you have this leg. This is going over here. Why is my... Oh, okay, yeah. So we have this kind of... come on. There we go. The leg gives a little bit of dynamic, and the arms, which point towards the guy in the middle, which is also nice. So all these kind of elements point here. So that is kind of cool effect too. And it gives a bit more dynamic. Also, by the way, if you look at these elements, they're not going straight down like that. Whoops. They're not going straight down like that. But instead, they are going outwards a little bit, which also gives us a kind of a direction towards the center, towards him, towards his head. So this is another interesting little element in here. And again, like, this is not just for digital, like 3D art or paintings or stuff. If you take a photo, you can think about these things. What kind of chair am I using? What kind of position does the leg have? Stuff like that. Where are the arms? What kind of position is there? Stuff like that. And you have even these tunnel lights, again, pointing at the guy. So there's a lot of thought in this kind of picture. So yeah, really interesting way to create this. And there is a lot of other elements here. Some of them are a bit harder to create with the photograph. For example, this kind of highlight here on the leg, although the rest of the stuff here is dark, is not that easy, I would guess, to do. But what you can see here is very nice, that they have put this backlight here that is very bright behind the guy, so you can actually like really see the head and the crown, and you have a very high contrast between the background and his face, so the eyes look more, they have this more glow in them, and there is like, you have a stronger feeling of this kind of darkness in there. So this is really interesting that this was created that way. And it has a really high readability because of that. You can see, even if you make it very small, you can still see there's a guy sitting on a chair and the head is poking out above, you know? So if the background wasn't that bright, there wouldn't be that kind of readability again. The kind of, he would just, if the background was this kind of brightness up here, would just blend with the background, of course. And also these highlights still help to get these features out that you see the leg, because if this wasn't the way, again, really hard to read that. And to make the whole picture more powerful and his situation more powerful, there are these lines on the ground here that separate him from the rest of the stuff, so he's not just sitting there in an underground passageway just like that. This is like his place, and he has kind of his marked area here, which also gives a little bit more contrast, so he's not just blending into the ground. You can see, like, if we cover this up, let's cover this up real quick. 1 second, there we go. Make this a bit brighter. So if we wouldn't have this stuff down here, it would, okay, that's too bright. There we go. If we wouldn't have that stuff down here, it would be a different picture. Like that. You see, it doesn't look, he looks like, yeah, it's just a strange guy sitting in an underground passageway. What the hell's going on? This looks like strange, out of place. But if you have this ring here, it gives this guy a lot of purpose. Like, this is his place. He owns that. This is like his throne room or something. So this ring makes a lot of difference between a random guy from, like, I don't know, a homeless guy going insane, and kind of an underground king, the hacker king. Again, I zoomed out too hard, sorry. So now you can see it. Here, pretty random. Here, this is his place. He owns the stuff. All right. Oh, sorry. Frontalunterricht. Okay. All right. Yeah, a lot of talk. I hope that was interesting. This was a completely different episode today, but I thought also this would be nice to maybe talk about that. And there have been several questions about these kind of things, of the kind of basic things. How do you look at art? What kind of things can you get out of them? How are these pictures built up? So that might be pretty interesting. Let's look maybe at one more picture and then, yeah, call it quits. It's almost 3 hours. Oh, and my throat is really sore. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's see what else can we see in here. Like there was this other, what is that? Okay, now I'm somewhere else. This is not my board. Boom, there we go. And like I said, I would really suggest you make at least one of these boards, like inspirations, things you like, stuff like that. Make more boards on any kind of topic you want to see, like I do for the exercises. Like you see here. What is this? Oh, people can suggest boards to me or what? I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. Like here, like for the week challenge. I made this board, took me maybe 5 minutes, it's super easy. To create that, and there's a ton of ideas in there that you can take as inspirations. So if you want to create an artwork, I would suggest to like do a little bit of research and see what other people have done. No way. What? Wait a second. Is this the exact same picture? No, it's not. Okay, I was shocked for a second. No, this is a different picture. Okay, for a second I thought he just reposted that one picture. Okay. No, this is a very different, like this is like somewhere in Asia, I would say. Looks very tropical here, and this is like, I don't know, somewhere in Canada or something. This looks more northern from the vegetation, so it's a pretty different picture, but it's a pretty cool effect. All right. Okay. So, but you can get a ton of inspirations from these kind of pictures. Ideas like you see here, a full world like floating in space as it seems. So that can be pretty cool, stuff like that. And you can always click here on more ideas, and Pinterest will suggest to you more ideas of the same kind. For example, this here, which is also pretty cool. So, and if you are in this more ideas thing, you just have to click on the save button, and this will save all of these things to the board that you have already created. So this is a super fast way. Wow, this is a cool one. Like this kind of mountain hanging from the ground. Pretty cool. Probably also done in 3D. You can, by the way, Behance is a great kind of platform to find these things, because often the artists on Behance, not only do they post more materials on how this was created, but often show the software they used. Although in this case he says he used Cinema 4D, so this is actually 3D graphics, and then he also used After Effects. Wow, okay, pretty cool. Yeah, there's some nice stuff out there. Wow. All right. Okay. By the way, this is maybe look at this picture and then another one, because I still haven't looked at the picture from before that I wanted to look at. 1 second from my board. Where's my board? So, no, that's the wrong one. 1 second. I'm almost there. There it is. Okay, cool. So I wanted to look at that one, because that's a nice one with a lot of interesting elements again in it. Oh, my throat. Chat says, hi, RMD80 Gaming. Is that a gaming? Do you have a gaming channel? Let's Play stuff? I did a Let's Play stuff. Sorry, I did a Let's Play channel in the past. Didn't work out so great. But like there's a billion Let's Play channels out there, so it's like it's oversaturated. I wouldn't try it again. Maybe like as a fun channel for my community, to have something else than games. Watching on and off as I'm entering a lockdown photo comp. You're entering a lockdown photo comp. What does that mean? Entering a lockdown? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is competition maybe lockdown photo competition? Isn't that over? Like didn't they send out a mail that this is like they already have all the artists? I'm not sure. Maybe they don't. I'm not sure. Just like games. Me too. All right. I've played Call of Duty Warzone a lot lately, which is surprisingly good. I'm not a Call of Duty fan per se, because I don't like the small maps. I'm more like an open world kind of gamer. But Warzone is basically open world. It's a really huge map, really good gameplay, very good fresh ideas. So yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I wanted to talk about the economy of attention. We can do that a little bit, maybe. So many topics. Okay, let's talk about this picture here real quick. So we have really, really cool elements in here. Again, I have to adjust my my brush here for a second. By the way, I was thinking about creating a clan for open world gamers. I haven't done it because I'm not kind of that clan organizing person. I think it's very work intense probably. But for me, it's like I'm not like there's people who play, for example, one game for 10 years or something, or like 2 years just one game, and I'm not that person. I play a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So if I'm in a clan or if I'm in a kind of a group who plays games, it's like I'm on and then I'm off for 2 months and then I'm on again. It's not what they want, so that's kind of not good. All right, let's talk about the picture here. Okay, so this has some really cool elements here that are also interesting to think about. And this picture like really enters into a very different kind of thinking about art, a one that we haven't talked yet. And this is the opposite of nature and like culture or structure, human structures that are out there. And this is a very nice kind of thing to combine or to set against each other, you know? And this can be very powerful, as you can see here in this picture. And I think that the way this is combined in this picture specifically is very interesting because, of course, you have this kind of landscape here that is going on. And it's a rough, natural landscape, so there's no question about it. Then you have this kind of element. Of course, this is inspired, I would say, by Odyssey 2001 film by Kubrick with the monolith, super famous scene. So I think every time you do this, it's kind of relating back somehow to that kind of thing, although probably have been other monoliths before that. Anyway, but you can immediately see, so this is a human-made structure, or at least by some kind of intelligent life form, right? And then you have this kind of thing that's leading up here, which is also nice, to the characters that are standing here. And of course, you have this kind of circle here. But the interesting thing that I find here really cool is that in the background, you have a moon. And of course, a moon, like planets are, is like almost perfectly round, right? So this is like the rare exception in nature that you have something that has like a perfect either round or straight form, not very usual in the nature to find. Like, of course, you could say, well, blossoms have like round circles in the middle, stuff like that. That's not really what I'm meaning here. Like this precise machined kind of line that you have, which looks just that machined because you look at an object from a very far distance. Nonetheless, the interesting thing is that this is like this element here, that's a nature element. And it is set into comparison to this circle, which is a machine-made element. So like from humans or aliens in that kind of sense, because this is sci-fi. I like this kind of connection comparison and how these two these actually meet down here. They touch together. So you see this is an intended combination between the moon in the background and the technical structure in the foreground. They should connect with each other. But of course they also, whoops, bad line. Let's take another color. This, of course, also points towards our main actors in here. And even though they are super small, it's very easy to see them still because everything in here is pointing at them. So these lines are pointing at them, and these lines, and also this points at them. And then you have one frame, and then you have a second frame around them. So they are impossible to miss. And at the same time, they are again centered. So this again is a kind of a center composition, as you know, as you see like here. Whoops, okay, I made this invisible so we don't see it anymore. Like you can see here, boom. Okay, wow. That was like hit and miss. Boom, there we go. 1, 2, super centered, as you can see, which at the same time makes it very powerful. So yeah, for a purpose. So that is very interesting. Oh, by the way, we can try, for example, here, if we change this composition a little bit, let's say like this. Let's put this in the lower, like so. Okay. Boom, there you go. And you can see how different this looks. It's not the same thing, right? Let's copy this. I didn't copy it. 1 second. Rasterize. No, wait. Oh yeah, rasterize. Okay, I can do that. No, I lost the picture. Anyways, let's go back. One more. There we go. Okay. So now we should have both of them here. All right, good. Okay. No, not that big. Sorry. Whoops. Okay. So you can see how much the energy changes of this kind of thing compared to that. How this is like, oh, powerful Stargate, they will travel to the future, whatever, he's saying goodbye, and then she's going through the gate and traveling to, I don't know, 1,000 years in the past or whatever. And this is very like a different situation, you know, it feels a lot like more like, oh God, I'm missing the right words in English. Let me look it up. It feels more like vulnerable and sensitive, you know, like in this kind of situation, it doesn't feel this kind of powerful, yeah, we are on a mission and big things are going to happen. Big things are going to happen here too, but this feels more emotional and more vulnerable and more like a kind of different kind of thing. Like they are more, I feel like if I look at this is kind of the kind of end situation. They kind of say goodbye and something has went wrong and he stays behind because the world is crushing, sorry. And she is like going to safety through the gates, something like that, you know? And this feels a lot more powerful and like, yeah, we have the power. Who does say that? We have the power. That's from our TV show, right? We have. Oh no, we have the technology. Yeah, the million, or is it the $1 billion man? They had the technology. Okay. All right. So that's that. And let's look at this other picture too. By the power of Grayskull. Yeah, that's also. Why, by the way, why is it the power of Grayskull? Is it Grayskull? Or is it written differently? How do you write Grayskull? Because, like the hero is saying, by the power of Grayskull, right? But his enemy is the guy with the gray skull, right? So that's strange. I don't know. Grayskull. And he's, what is his name? Skullman. No, he's he has a different name. Human and Skullman. That would not work. Okay. What is name? It has to be like a super simple, stupid name. they all have, like he's He-Man and she's Sheila for some reason, and all these kind of strange names. Skeletor, yeah, Skeletor, super obvious names. Skeletor, yeah, right. Okay. So here basically you have the same thing, like you have this kind of natural structure, and then you have this artificial structure, and it's super obvious that this is an artificial structure, but because this is put together, it suddenly looks super adventurous, and it suddenly looks like there is something huge going on here. He's like, I don't know, finding some alien structure in a cave or whatever, you know. So if you would remove these kind of areas here, it would look kind of boring. Should we try that? Let's do that. Okay. Anyways, let's put this. Give me that, and a brush, and a bit more size here, please, and a soft brush. There we go. Okay, that's too much. Let's go with that color here. Boom. Okay. Let's paint over that. Wait a second. What I'm doing. Let's use that. Loop. There we go. So that's gone. And let's remove that. Let's see if that works. Yeah, kind of. Hey, pretty good job, actually. So this is just a guy walking through a cave. Nothing really interesting here. He's walking out of the cave, just normal light, blah, pretty boring. Here, hard contrast between nature and culture, and between like nature and technology, and wilderness or technology, so stuff like that, you know. And so this puts a huge contrast in the picture, in the story, in the stuff that's going on. And contrast is always good, because contrast is kind of, it has an energy flow from one point to another point, and this makes us interesting because suddenly something is going on in the picture. And again, like you asked before, or someone asked before in the chat, you can see that you have this kind of sideways energy going on, because it shouldn't be, in this case, the idea of the artist is that this shouldn't be static, but there is kind of a flow of energy going on, in this case, towards the light through that kind of cave. So we are having a situation where, yeah, there's movement, right? And also, interestingly enough, here, if you look at this picture, let's draw our lines here. In this case, let's take these. You can see if they go green, this means center. So this is kind of a helper here, and they also snap to the center. So this is helpful in Affinity Photo. And so you can see that the guy is off center, which also adds to the dynamic. So he is moving in that direction and is not just standing there in the center. And we can change that real quick. Let's duplicate that layer and then drag this out to have it more like that. And then the guy would be more in the, or should we just move the guy? Maybe just move the guy. Let's delete this again. Or no, let's rasterize that. And then move in here. 1 second. There we go. Let's copy this guy. Okay. And then we want to remove him from the original picture. Let's make a new layer here. Current layer and below, yes please. And then draw on top of him. There we go. Yeah, that's not perfect, but it's pretty okay. Good. Good enough for our purposes. Good. So here we have the guy again. Good. So let's remove these lines, so they're not distracting us. And then we move this guy more to the center, like here. There, perfect in the center. And you can see it's kind of a different situation now with the guy. There we go. So you can see now that this is a lot more static, and less like it feels less like exploration and adventure compared to the other picture where he was in the center, on the side of the picture. So you can see this kind of situation and this kind of situation where he walks into, and there is more kind of emotion going on than in this kind of situation. He's still walking. He's still going through the gate. So we still have the same kind of story from the elements that are in there, but from the emotion we have and from the energy we see in the picture, this is more exploration and kind of wonder and kind of he goes in there, he wants to find out what's going on in there compared to this kind of situation where this is more kind of static and just kind of a different thing. All right. Good. Okay. Let's have a look at the chat real quick. Whew. All right. Oh, lots of talking today. Yeah, 3 hours 20. I would say that's good enough. Done a day's work. Okay. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I was thinking if I should still talk about this kind of attention economy. Probably a bit too late now. I was thinking about that today, like I said, with Red and Link and this kind of podcast kind of thing that I found really interesting to have. But yeah, that's another topic. It's not. What was the other one? About the learning process. Yeah. That's like let's take that as the kind of outro of the stream today. Talk a little bit about this lifelong learning situation, because I was really it was amazed that basically for me there is no real day in life where I don't wake up and think there is something I want to learn today. Not in the sense of, oh, I have to learn something new because it's my my job or something, but just because there is things that I'm interested in where I think, hey, I want to find out how that works. I want to get better at something, or I want to try out new things, right? For today, for example, there was like, how do I film these kind of things and how do I split up things into certain kind of situations so you tell a story with like a film with film scenes, which is pretty hard to do. And I didn't do a great job. Like, my scenes are just a mix of like nice scenes to look at, but they don't tell a specific story. So that would be like much more complicated than I could do at the moment. And also cutting the videos, also stabilizing the shots, all these kind of things, pretty hard to do. There's a learning process. But for me, what was interesting today about this kind of learning process was that like this for me is a new situation. I'm not good at filming and I don't have experience with that. So for me, I'm like a beginner in that area, and I have this kind of view at the thing where I say, when I come, for example, to a public spot, and that's interesting, and I look at that, like if you have a seasoned camera guy or a camera woman, she knows how to split up the situation in different shots to make it into a nice kind of scene afterwards, combined out of these different shots. But I don't know how to do that, and I don't know how to approach that. And so first of all, this was the idea why I thought today maybe it's good if I talk about, rather than doing things, I explain to you why certain things are in a certain way in an image, because that might be helpful to know about this kind of composition, how to combine things, how to work with light and shadow, all these kind of things, to give you like more of an idea on how to use them. And also, I was thought like it would be interesting, and we didn't do too much conversation today. This is again my fault, because I'm not good at I'm more good at talking rather than doing conversations. Is that for me, it was like in this kind of situations where I'm actually really new to a subject, I understand more of how difficult it is for a person to come to a subject and don't know like what the different elements are and how to work with them, you know? And so it would be really interesting for me to understand from a beginner point of view, if you look at pictures, if you look at Affinity Photo, stuff like that, what kind of questions are there, or photography, all these kind of things, how you would approach things, how you would do things. It's easier when you're new to your topic to understand what these questions would be. But when you have done this thing for a long time, so many things are kind of obvious to you, and kind of like, for example, like with a language, with your own language. If I ask you, why do you say this word in this situation but not in that situation, it would be hard for you to explain in some cases because you're just used to that. And it feels like, yeah, it just is that way. Although in most cases there is a rule for why you would say a certain thing in one situation but not in another situation, you know. So yeah, I have to like maybe ask in the Facebook group about that to but it's always hard because like when I ask people what do you want to have a video about, they always say very specific things that are like interesting for them at the moment, but they are so specific and niche that they don't really cover a lot of the interest, like the interests and problems of beginners in general, if you know what I mean. What do you mean by establishing shot mid-range and some detail shots? Oh, as for the filming. Okay, I understand. That's actually a good idea. I have to read about that and watch some videos. By the way, I watched a video today about different kind of shots, what you can do with the Osmo Mobile to get some ideas on how to do these shots. It was really helpful, but you can see I was really limited to just these 4 different trick shots. I found like there's no, I didn't have any other idea what to do, what to film. And when I watch videos from other people and see what they do, I'm always like, yeah, of course you would do that. Why not? It's like makes sense. But when you are there at the spot, you're like, it's not obvious. You just don't think about it, you know. So I don't know. Yeah, it's not that easy, and it's completely different than photography because you have to split up one picture into several shots that then create a scene compared to just one picture where you try to arrange all the things into just one picture, which is kind of interesting because we think of a photograph, we think of a picture as a static thing. Basically, it's just one frame. But at the same time, it's not actually a static frame. We just, we put a whole story and a progression in time and from elements and the relations of the elements to each other all together in one picture. And then we can figure out this, and we create this kind of time progression afterwards by guiding the eye and by the viewer looking at different things at a certain point in time, you know. And the better you are as an artist, the more control you have over where the viewer is looking first, second, third, fourth, all these kind of things, and what kind of connections they create between the different objects. So there is a time progression in a photograph, in a static picture. It's really interesting. Yeah, so yeah, it would be interesting to understand what is kind of these beginner needs, beginner interest, beginner questions. Also, maybe a good term is beginner uncertainties about things. Like I said, if I think about video, there's a lot of questions I have. If I think about music, like writing music with software, stuff like that, what is the build-up? What is the like the structure of a song, and what kind of elements would you put in there? And for example, how do you combine different instruments but you can still hear them? I learned it a little bit, but it's still kind of confusing and hard to get the right things there. So yeah, and in photography, it has kind of the same elements. And you have seen, like today, composing a picture, there is a ton of things to think about, and this becomes more obvious if you instead of taking a picture of something that's just there, like a vacation photo of, like, you're in a museum, okay, you want to photograph something because it's there. You stage all of the picture with a model and with all of the elements, and you have to think about to bring everything there because you only have one chance to do that. And then it suddenly becomes super complicated to think about these kind of things and what you need, and what makes the story, what is interesting for the shot, and often you only see it afterwards when you created the shot. So this is where basically experience comes into play, that you know before it happens what is going to happen and what kind of things can go wrong, you know. So, and this is the difference also between knowledge and experience, because knowledge is just a list of information, but you don't understand why, while experience is the understanding of why, often without actually the information behind that. So you might not be able to explain it, but you still know why something is happening or why you have to do it a certain way. And that's the benefit of experience. So that's also pretty good. And this is why just learning something is not the main element. You have to repeat it and to get used to it and to find your own kind of work progress. And this is again where this kind of lifelong learning comes into it, that the real mastery of something doesn't come from the knowledge of it, but from the experience of it. So that's really important to know that. Kick, snare, hi-hat melodies. I wish it was that simple. Yeah, those are like, yeah, some elements, but there's a lot more to that. Okay. Well, okay, this was another monologue instead of a conversation. I'm really good at just talking about things and not so good, yeah, you know, conversations. Whew, all right. I hope this was really interesting today for you to watch. The next challenge I will set up in a different way. So just one picture per person, so we can cut that a little bit short and give more people the chance at the same time. So that might be pretty awesome to do that. And again, please join the live stream. I will be in the chat to talk with you. Wait, let me switch over 1 second. There we go. So please join this. I will post the link in my chat again a couple of times. Set the reminder. You can see the button there for the reminder. So please do that. This is all the same link. Yeah, it's about half an hour long. And yeah, please leave a like, leave a comment, all these kind of good stuff. Yeah, that would be awesome. I will be in the chat to talk with you. And it's at the same day as I would usually do a tutorial. So this is on a Saturday. So I'm not sure if I will do like use this instead of the tutorial I normally do, because there's a little bit of overlap. But we will see. I have to figure that out still. Yeah, okay. So thank you very much for joining me today, for watching. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was interesting for you. And see you in the next live stream. Thank you. And yeah, have a good night. Bye.